You're tuning in to the Raised by Rentals program. This podcast will contain strong language and spoilers for decades-old media properties.
Join us.
Welcome, everybody. This is the podcast where we examine pop culture franchises of the VHS era and improv news stories where we pity the fool, have the power, wax on, wax off, have what she's having, don't have time to bleed, and have fun storming the castle, but never get to rescue the princess because that bitch is always in another castle. So I guess we'll just have to imagine how we might improve our favorite movies, TV, and games. I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
And we were raised by rentals. Mike, never let it be said that we don't play the long game.
That's true. That's very true.
Right? And what I mean by that is that this episode today was inspired by an episode that came out about a year ago on the Boogeyman's Closet. And I heard that, wrote a note, and put it on our schedule for season 4, knowing full well we were going to get to it. And here we are. So we're going to fulfill a promise made on the Boogeyman's Closet last November when you did an episode for Thanksgiving with Mike O'May and Josh Hibbard, your co-hosts of Count Creepyhead Saturday Morning Monster Mash. And everybody, by the way, should go listen to the Thanksgiving episode, episode 217. It came out November 18th, 2024. And if you can listen to the whole episode, and you definitely should, but if you're curious, you can jump to about minute 57, where there was some scene where the killer in that movie, spoiler alert for a terrible Z-level horror movie, is the killer in that movie is the turkey. And there's terrible special effects of the turkey choking somebody. And Michael May explained it like it looked like somebody, glued feathers to their hands and then reached into the frame with turkey hands to choke the girl. And you lost it. Like you were just cackling.
It's the phrase turkey hands. It gets me every time. It's so dumb.
Yeah. Right? And then Josh Hibbard piped up to be like, oh, there should totally be a horror movie called Turkey Hands just by itself. And you spoke into the camera like, Strasburg, make a note, Raised by Rentals. And I was driving in my car, listening to that episode, downtown Austin, in one of the worst areas of traffic where there's multiple roads that converge onto a bridge. And I definitely should not have been paying attention to anything other than the incredibly busy downtown traffic. But I immediately had to make a note on my phone. Turkey Hands, Thanksgiving 2025.
Yes.
So
Turkey hands.
Turkey Hands. Yeah, it is. It's really, I don't know why it's so funny. Why is it so funny?
It's the bizarre fucking phrase. I don't know why it catches me, but it really does.
And when,
my God.
and when I told you that I wrote that note down, way back when, I was like, I don't know what we're gonna do, but it's always hard to come up with Thanksgiving special episodes for us here on Razor Rentals. I don't know about you on The Boogeyman's Closet. Are you running short of Thanksgiving themed horror movies to talk about in November?
Oh, God, yes. In fact, this month, unfortunately, has been a trial of getting schedules to line up, just because there's been so many different events happening that various members of the Boogeyman's Closet and the other teams of members that come in for the Boogeyman's Closet from the Rad Pantheon, we've all been very busy, so it's been very difficult to get stuff set up. But I can only think of about 4 more Thanksgiving horror movies that I'm going to be able to cover, one of which we're hopefully recording later this week. But yeah, so we might only have 1 episode this month. We had 2 planned, but with the way schedule's going, I don't know if it's going to happen. So maybe we'll save that one for next year.
And you might need it, yeah. Because like I said, on this podcast, we've always, kind of had an issue, or we've kind of always wondered, what do we do with Thanksgiving? Do we even bother? Last year, we almost just decided to skip it. Our first year, we didn't. And the episode titled Get Stuffed, which, side note, probably my least favorite title of all Raised by Rentals episodes, but that's neither here nor there. But anyway, so it was called Get Stuffed, and it was our attempt to make a full-length movie pitch out of the fake trailer for Thanksgiving that Eli Roth directed for Grindhouse, which he very shortly afterwards ended up actually making into like what is a pretty awesome horror movie. Um,
Oh God, yeah.
yeah, and then we did one of our at least one of my favorite episodes ever when we did Polly Shore's
Mhm.
Thanksgiving Vacation,
Yep, I love that one.
which I freaking loved. Yeah, but then last year we were like, I don't know what to do. Like, there just aren't a lot of Thanksgiving movies and like TV shows we could riff off of. I mean, I guess maybe we could do like an animated special. Like the Peanuts have done a couple of Thanksgiving episodes, but like nothing just seemed interesting. And we ended up doing Planes, Trains, and Batmobiles last year because, obviously Planes, Trains, and Automobiles is a Thanksgiving themed movie. But yeah, after that, I didn't know where we were gonna go. Like there's a couple of other movies we could maybe look at, but nothing that was interesting. So when I was listening to that episode last year, Turkey Hands, and I was like, okay, that's it. We gotta write it down. We gotta write it down. Like fuck trying to riff on another property. We'll just do something original. And I told you I wrote it down, and I'm like, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's a horror movie, like Josh Hibbard recommended. Like I don't know. It's just funny, and it would be something we could do. That's just silly for Thanksgiving. And I was
Mhm.
like, turkey hands. And in my head, I was picturing, you know. The way that Michael May explained it, it was like a human who was trying to make their hands look like turkey wings or something, like the turkey choked a person. But in my head, I was picturing somebody that had their hand, stuck up the back end of like a cold frozen turkey, like you buy at the grocery store, like poultry,
Right. It's kind of like the scene in Scary Movie 2 with the oh God, I can't. Was it Chris Elliott where he's
Yes,
shoving the stuffing inside the turkey?
yes,
you know.
exactly. Yeah, I was thinking of something like that. And then you were like, no, no, no. What if they were like straight up turkeys, like living birds on the end of his arms, like they were his hands? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, we are doing it. Season 4, it's on the schedule. Turkey hands.
Oh my God, it's such a stupid concept, but I love it.
Ex- That's exactly right. It's so dumb. And it's the kind of thing that no sane person or, group of writers would ever be like, yeah, that's perfect. Let's make a movie about a guy that's got living birds for hands. Like, like the audiences will show up in droves for this masterpiece. It's such a stupid idea that we had to do it. Like the challenge of trying to make turkey hands work. It's almost as ridiculous as pancake face. that
Right.
that Michael May also coincidentally recommended for a Raised by Rentals episode, and I was like, okay, so we got to do it, but I didn't know what it was. I don't think either one of us was really thinking about what kind of movie it was going to be. I just assumed some kind of horror movie, I guess, and
Mhm.
maybe that's just because, it goes back to you covering a horror movie on your podcast and Josh Hibbard mentioning it, that it would be some kind of a slasher killer. But again, we didn't really know. And, recently, the more we started talking about it, the more ridiculous the idea became that it was clear that it had to be a comedy. Absolutely. I mean, I guess we could play it straight and just really lean into the concept, but
Well, I think it came for it was the at the end of the Great Pumpkin episode. We were talking about what should we do next, and Turkey Hands came up, and we were like, do we want to do another horror movie? We just did a horror movie, and we were kind of like joking back and forth of how to play it.
mhm,
Was it is it a drama? Is it a comedy? Is it an action movie? What is it?
yeah.
And yeah, we kept coming back to how many stupid hijinks you could get into if you had turkeys for hands. So it's like it has to be a comedy.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the next thought was, well, why does this person have turkeys for hands? Like, what's the setup? Like, yes, it's funny, but there has to be at least some kind of a pitch for there to be a story there. And again, I think it was you that you were like, okay, so hear me out. Yeah, which is a phrase I hear a lot from you, right? Okay, hear me out.
Because I'm like, I know this is crazy, but
Yeah. And then you were like, okay, so what if it's like a curse? And and again, I'm just paraphrasing the conversation. You're like,
Yep.
but what if it was some kind of a curse where like every time he gets like angry or every time he gets hungry, like like it's like he's hulking out, but then his hands turn into turkeys, and somehow that train of thought led to, well, yeah, angry is the Hulk, and like I don't know, hungry, I don't know, but eventually it was like, no, no, no. Every time he gets horny, his hands turn into turkeys. It's like, oh my God,
Yes.
just okay, just layer on the stupid. Like, okay, yes, absolutely, but that ended up being the perfect element to add to it. Like, there's the pitch, right? A guy who every time he gets horny, he can't do anything about it because his hands turn into living turkeys, and hilarity ensues.
The
And
Thanksgiving boner comedy that no one asked for.
exactly, yes, exactly. It means that the only genre that makes any kind of sense for a movie like this is a boner comedy, and or I guess people might know that, more widely as like a teen sex comedy, but we're talking about, a genre that I think isn't really popular these days, but has gone through a couple of high points in the last couple of decades.
Oh God, yeah. Like, I mean, you figure the late '70s, early '80s was filled with boner comedies, and then the late '90s, early 2000s, it had a big resurgence.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was immediately thinking of the 80s kind of low budget straight to video type of movies for this in terms of like the tone, but there was actually a lot of like mainstream popular movies in the 80s. For some reason, there was a lot of these so-called teen sex comedies that were pretty like raunchy, and you would recognize titles like Revenge of the Nerds, its sequel, Nerds in Paradise, Meatballs, that whole series, Porky's, Weird Science. I love Loverboy with Patrick Dempsey. Uh,
Yes, friggin' zapped with Oh my God, what's his frickin' name? Scott Baio.
yeah, and Ski School. You have mentioned on previous episodes both of these movies, which I have never seen and don't plan on watching, which are Hot Dog the movie and Hamburger the motion picture.
They're so dumb.
And but my two from that era are Just One of the Guys and Once Bitten with Jim Carrey.
Oh yeah, I actually just recently rewatched Once Bitten. There's a lot of comedy in it that does not hold up in today's day, but there's a lot that is still really funny about it. It's still a very funny movie.
Yeah, it is. It is very hilarious. Like, yeah, I think we talked about that once on a previous episode where there's a particular sequence that really doesn't age well at all. But for the most part,
No.
I think it kind of falls into that Ace Ventura category of like a movie that's absolutely hilarious until you get to that one scene, and then you have to pause it and kind of explain to your teenage kids, okay, it was the 90s, like it was a certain
Was a
era.
different time.
Yes, we weren't involved then. But the rest of the movie's hilarious, and people keep watching it, and you just kind of give it a pass, for what it was. And I think Once Bitten can kind of get that. But a lot of these movies, like even Just One of the Guys, like these are all movies that are built around the concept of underage kids trying to get laid, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And you know what, to be fair, to be 100% fair here, I feel like this is one of those universal experiences for everybody. When you're a teenager, your hormones are raging, you're a pervert. Most people like, and most people like to play it off like, oh, I'm not, I wasn't a pervert. No, every fucking teenager that I knew had their moments of pervertedness, where it's like your hormones are raging, you can't help
Hmm.
yourself. That's one of the reasons why these comedies had such a wide audience, is because there are moments of relatability here.
Oh yeah, and those were huge movies, and you mentioned the comeback in the late 90s and early 2000s, which was even bigger and even more mainstream because there's something about Mary. There's a giant plot point that they highlight on the movie poster where Cameron Diaz has jizz in her hair. Like, oh my God, you know?
it's it's hilarious to look back at that and be like, so yeah, like, we put it on the poster. There's a chick with cum in her hair, and then like American Pie, there's a dude that fucks a pie.
Yeah.
and we highlight that on the poster as well.
Yeah, exactly. And there's another movie that has a sequence that doesn't age well because that whole thing where they like videotape like the exchange student and like blast it on the
Yeah.
internet, like ooh, like very cringy. But these were huge movies. Like American Pie spawned a franchise, and then there was stuff like Road Trip and Euro Trip, and
Yep.
Not Another Teen Movie, which was a parody of these other movies that was so much more perverted and raunchy than those. Because if you're going to parody something, you go over the top, right?
It was a boner comedy that parodied boner comedies.
Yeah, exactly. And then even something, kind of later on in the decade, like Superbad. I mean, Superbad is like probably for a certain generation what like Clerks was for us, and
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's a super raunchy adult movie that people saw when they were way too young, and it like completely colored their comedy and their sense of humor forever.
And soon after Superbad, there was a movie. It's not nearly as popular as Superbad, but I hold it up there as one of the funnier ones. Is Sex Drive?
Oh yeah.
That movie, I want to say, was like the following year after Superbad. I found that movie fucking hilarious, and like, there's so much improv in that from Seth Green. It's totally worth watching it just for his character.
Oh yeah, 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 and we're talking mostly about like teen sex comedies, which again, it's a weird thing for Hollywood to make movies that are so geared toward, again, underage, technically children who are trying to get laid, and
Right.
a lot of them end up having sex with adults, like again, American Pie being kind of cringy and not aging as well, and so again,
Mhm.
now in the 2020s, we look back and we're like, man, it was a weird time. It was a weird time, but we do occasionally get like a horny movie. I think now you get more of these mainstream popular movies like Saltburn and Honey Don't and Nosferatu, where people are going to see them because of that one scene they heard about. And it's like, yeah, people are still
Yep.
pervs. People are still
Oh,
pervs.
of course, of course they are.
Oh man, hell, I remember one time my fucking mom, was trying to recommend a movie. She's like, "Have you seen The 40-Year-Old Virgin?" And I'm like, "Mom, stop talking. Just stop talking. I don't want to have this conversation with you about The 40-Year-Old Virgin because yes, it's a great movie, but no, please don't."
Yeah, that's an uncomfortable conversation right there.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, anyway, so it's the perfect setup for a movie called Turkey Hands, where a guy gets turkeys for hands every time he gets horny. And we're gonna do a boner comedy, and I don't know if I mentioned already, but I think it's the first time we've ever done one on Raisement Rentals. I think this is genre like groundbreaking for us.
Yeah, no, I don't think we've ever done this. I mean, we've done a couple of comedies, but no, nothing like this.
Yeah, and we've done a couple like takeoffs of boner comedies that exist. Like we did Weirder Science as a sequel to Weird Science, but ours wasn't horny. Ours was like post-apocalyptic.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, ours was dark.
yeah,
Surprise, surprise.
yeah, exactly. And we've put some adult-rated jokes in episodes here and there, but yeah, this is the first time I think we're just going to go all in. No horror, nothing really serious. We're just going to lean into the fun, get horny with it. So this is your age warning for anyone out there who's still listening. If you're going to be uncomfortable with, dick and fart and sex jokes, like this is not the episode for you. But if that's what you're into, if you're the kind of person who goes to see, Honey Don't just for that one scene and doesn't care about the story, then stick around.
If you didn't have a problem with Mary having jizz in her hair on the poster, you're gonna like this.
Right? And if you're like our generation who grew up with the American Pie movies, or fuck, even the Austin Powers franchise is super horny.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, his fucking catchphrase was "Do I make you horny, baby?"
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
let's know that they had an action figure that said that line.
Ridiculous, ridiculous. Yeah, that's a whole other thing. We can maybe do a whole episode where we do some kind of a dissection of the absolutely bizarre cultural microcosm that was the Austin Powers franchise and how popular it was.
Dude, like, it was one of those, if you weren't alive, you didn't get it, or if you weren't old enough, you didn't get it. It really was. Like, I worked at Media Play during that time, and my God, that stuff was everywhere. It was such a popular franchise. Like, the merchandising was out of control.
Oh yeah, crazy. it was a phenomenon in, like, I understand why Hollywood wants to make a movie like that, make merch off of a popular movie, but it's just, again, it was so mainstream, so mainstream. It was weird. And
Hmm.
it wasn't even like there's something about Mary where it clearly was intended for adults. I mean, kids were watching Austin Powers. I don't remember it being specifically marketed to kids, but they definitely made a lot of toys. So, I mean, I don't know,
Oh yeah.
right?
And that's the thing, they had the two different versions, and this was something that was being a toy nerd, I'm sure a lot of other toy nerds that listen to Count Creepyhead would understand this, but they specifically did the two separate versions. They did the adult collector version of Austin Powers figures, and then they had the mainstream, like you could sell it at Toys R Us versions, which actually got them into hot water at one point because there was a mix up at the warehouse, and you
Mm,
had some of the more like media play and Tower Records centric figures that were adult collectors ending up at Toys R Us locations,
oh,
and parents freaking out because it's like, here's Austin Powers with all it, like wearing his little Union Jack speedo and
hmm.
nothing else. His freaking furry chest with the phrase "Do I make you horny, baby?" right on the package, and parents lost their minds. But that's a whole nother topic for another time. It was a strange time to be alive.
It was a very strange time to be alive. Yeah, again, it's a weird side tangent because we're gonna get to the story here, I promise. I front loaded it this time on the episode to be like, turkey hands, guys. Yeah, it'll be funny. Stick around so we could talk a little bit, you know. So,
Right.
one more quick side trail on that is when I was in college, when I went back to school as an adult in my 30s, I ended up having to take a public speaking class as a requirement for my degree. And I don't have a problem with public speaking. Yeah, I've never been a professional teacher, but I have been a professional like trainer at like my job. I used to get, flown around to other offices to do training, and I've never had a problem, being on stage and talking in public, anyway, but I had to take this class and I actually learned a lot from this class. Things that I think I still subconsciously apply to raise parentals all the time because it helped shape how I tell stories and how I make a point. And I think it's really good if you, as a writer, if you've never like taken a public speaking class or really looked into like the techniques. I think it's pretty fascinating and it's certainly helpful, for a writer because writing a speech and getting people to give a shit about it is like a skill, right? Anyway,
Oh, absolutely.
so for my final project, we've had to pick a topic that we would argue. It had to be an argumentative speech where we were, or sorry, a persuasive speech where we were trying to convince the audience that the point that we were making was true. But of course, in order to make that work, the teacher recommended that we pick some topic that, might seem a little weird. Like people wouldn't immediately agree with you, like a hot take basically. And
Gotcha.
so this was in 2010, so the Watchmen movie was still pretty new. It came out I think 2008, 2009, and I gave my argument and I said, again, based on the movies that were out at that time, I said that parents should not be allowed to take their children, young children, to see superhero movies. And immediately the class was like, "What? Like that's crazy," because they were encouraging like feedback, like you're a real audience, like boo if I suck, And but
Right.
anyway, long story short, the argument that I gave was that if you look at all the superhero movies that were out at the time, and there was, some of the Marvel ones like, Iron Man and of course the Spider-Man, like Tobey Maguire movies, but if you look at all of them, they all had violence and this and that. Now, don't get me wrong, like as a person, as Josh, like fucking yeah, those movies are awesome. Like I don't care, like do what you want. But I'm just trying to make a point, like on a hot take for a class, right? And so I
Right.
gave I gave this argument that all of these movies, even the ones that are rated like PG-13, have stuff in them that maybe parents shouldn't take their kids to. And I gave a personal anecdote where I went to go see the Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, and there was a guy in there who had to leave in the first scene because his baby started crying. And I'm like, why is there a baby in here?
Right.
But my final argument, and this is the whole reason why I brought it up, because the thing with the toys, my final argument was that that Watchmen was the worst example because there are parents who take their kids to see this movie. And of course, the counter argument is, yeah, well, it's R-rated. That's an R-rated movie. It doesn't fit your example of these PG and PG-13 rated superhero movies because this one is clearly for adults. But then I said, yeah, well, what about this? And I had pre-prepared slides where I brought up the Toys R Us website that had Comedian and Silk Spectre toys in a two-pack, or at least they were sold like next to each other on the website. They were together on the screen, and I was like, that guy rapes that woman's mother in this movie. And these are sold on the Toys R Us website. And if you look there in the fine print, it says ages 9 and up. And that
Yeah.
was my final argument. I got an A plus, and the teacher kept my written essay in my slides to use as an example for his next class on how to give a persuasive speech.
That's awesome.
Anyway, I'm just bragging for a second because I always think about that, like fucking toys, man. Like when we were kids, we had RoboCop toys and like Predator
Oh
toys and
God,
like
yeah.
Jesus Christ. Anyway,
Yeah, if they can make a toy out of it, they will.
absolutely. But turkey hands, still funny,
Maybe one day we'll get turkey hand toys. Wishful thinking.
right? Oh God. Oh man. Okay, so the setup is I don't know, Mike. We talked a little bit ahead of time just to kind of like agree on a couple of things, so I'll toss it to you. I've been doing a lot of talking. I'll just say we're doing what, late 90s, probably like around the time of the
Yeah, I feel
resurgence
like
of the boner comedy.
late '90s, mainly because we were teenagers at the time. It's a little easier to kind of put ourselves in that mind frame of like what it was like being a horny teenager in the late '90s. So yeah, late '90s I feel like is the best era for this. Um, and obviously being a Thanksgiving movie, let's set it like in Plymouth, Massachusetts or something.
Yeah,
Um,
totally.
but yeah, so basically we need to have a main character that is going to be the titular, turkey hands of the
You
of the
said
movie.
tit.
Uh, I did. Zing. Um, but yeah, I've said this many times on the Boogeyman's Closet. I've said this many times on this podcast. I am a fan of movies where the main character you can't root for. Like they're a dick. They're, like you almost want to see the bad stuff happen to them because they're the bad guy. Now, whether or not that person gets redeemed, that's a whole nother story. But it's like I've said, the Seinfeld TV show is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. Why? Because every character is an asshole.
Hmm.
Like you don't care what happens to them because they're a dick. It's like,
Hmm.
I've talked about the Rob Zombie Firefly movies, House of Thousand Corpses, Devil's Rejects, Three from Hell. A lot of people loved Devil's Rejects, but they didn't quite get the whole duality of like he shows you these despicable people, then he forces you to empathize with them, and then he still shows you there at the end they're still despicable people. But like people were very conflicted, and I thought that was very effective because you hate the characters to elicit that emotion of like, hey, we're going to now show you a reason to empathize with them. It was a really cool tactic. And then when you get to Three from Hell, they're just bad guys again. They're bad guys fighting bad people, but they're the worst people, And it's like a lot of people got upset about that because it's like you couldn't root for anyone. It's like, yeah, you're just along for the ride, man. Just enjoy it. So I think I'm going to propose this now. With the main character, I think he should be our villain. I think he
Yeah,
should be like the reason he gets the curse of the turkey heads is because he's a dick.
absolutely. That's perfect. Yeah, we've talked a lot about wanting to just lean into the main character as the villain, and yeah, absolutely. Like we've done it with some of our slasher characters and stuff before, but yeah, absolutely. I I love a movie about an asshole. I think writing a good asshole isn't easy, and when people can pull it
No.
off. When you're watching a TV show and there's a character on screen that you just want to fucking die. Like you hate them so much. Like that's great writing, you know?
Yep. Yeah, I actually recently just watched Bodies, 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 and the thing I was telling everybody about this because a lot of people wrote that movie off. It's a dumb, horror comedy. But the thing I fucking love about it is there's not a single likable character. Everyone's a prick. Like everyone is such a dick. Even the people that you kind of want to like, they show you why they're a dick like at some point in the movie. So like I was getting angry at every character. I'm like, "Oh my god, just kill them already." And I'm like, "Damn, this is really good writing because I can't stand any of these fuckers." So, highly recommend that if you like those types of movies.
Yeah, I'll definitely check
And
it out.
it's really funny. Yeah, I think you and Tegan would enjoy it. It's very silly and it's kind of a, I don't want to ruin anything, but it definitely has some twists and turns along the
Okay.
way.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's the dialogue is fantastic. Like the dialogue was spot on. Like I really enjoyed the dialogue. Um, and again, the characterization of all these people, they're such pricks. So
Yeah.
really like,
And like I'll say, like let's hit the gas and, and get into the story. No, all these side
mhm.
trails. But yeah, exactly. I love an asshole. My favorite character on the Stranger Things show, out of all the characters, people like Eleven, or they like Jim Hopper or whatever. Hell, I dressed as Jim Hopper for Halloween one year. But my favorite character on the whole show is a character a lot of people hate, which is Billy. Billy Hargrove,
Oh yeah,
right? Some seasons 2 and 3. I fucking love that dude. I don't know how to pronounce the actor's first name, but I guess Dacre Montgomery fucking nailed it. And the writing is so perfect because he is just this delicious asshole. And I hate him so much, but that makes me love it because I'm
yep.
like, what a great character.
Yeah, no, he was a fantastic character, and I feel like he was a fan favorite. Like even though he was such a dick, like people loved him. So yeah, good on him.
But all right, okay, so our main character, he's got to be a dickhead. Okay, so he's a dickhead. What's his name? Let's call him something.
Well, okay, since we're leaning into the whole Thanksgiving thing, all I can think of is Tom Turkey. So Tom, let's just call him Tom.
Okay.
Um, I don't know what if we need last names, but you know we could come up with something. I'm sure. Um,
Yeah, hang on. Quick internet search for, I don't know, just random. I, I thought of like Tom Gobble, but I'm like, no, that's a little bit too on the nose, right? Like,
as Tom Gobble. I mean, and initially I was thinking something like, you carve a turkey, so Tom Carver, but of course that was also in the Thanksgiving movie, the Eli Roth one.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay,
but something like that,
okay.
that could
So
be a last name.
looking at like some random like words about like turkey the food. Okay, so
Right.
because he's a dick, and I don't know if this is a real name that people have, and I don't care, but I want to call this guy Tom Spatchcock.
Spatchcock.
Yeah, that's like when you like butterfly, like the bird, and like lay it flat,
Yeah.
you, you
Yeah,
know.
you like take its backbone out and all that.
Yeah,
But I learned that from Bob's Burgers. Um
nice.
fucking it's got cock in the name and he's a cocksucker. So yeah, there we go.
Exactly. Tom Spatchcock. Oh God.
Oh my god. So yeah, so he's like, I'm picturing he'd be like this little rich prick, like, because again, we're looking at like 80s boner comedies. There's like 80s boner comedies and even 90s boner comedies, but particularly in the 80s boner comedies, there was always the rich blonde dickhead. Like
Hmm.
that was the archetypal bad guy of the boner comedy, the rich blonde dick.
Yep.
So Tom should fit that mold. He should be like this little, rich prick who cares about two things, pussy and money. Like
Yes.
he's such an asshole. And like, every good bad guy, I'm thinking like God, pick a bully in a movie. They always have cronies. So he's got to
Hmm.
have like, two like yes men, two toadies that are always hanging out with him. Yeah, I'm thinking like the freaking, why can't I think of the bad guy's name in Revenge of the Nerds? But the
Oh.
blonde rich asshole.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either. Yeah,
Yeah,
that he was on Married with Children later on, the actor. But yeah, that's
yeah. So he has like, he's got ogre and the other tall guy that I don't think they even named, but he had his cronies. You have like Scut Farkus has his toady.
yeah,
Like
yeah. Well,
they always have to have a toady.
I always think
Oh,
of
good.
William Zabka. You mentioned like the rich blonde guys, right? William Zabka,
Yes.
right, from Karate Kid, and we mentioned just one of the guys. Hell, in Karate Kid, he has like the Cobra Kai characters who all have like names and personalities, but in just one of the guys, he literally is shadowed by two other students who never speak a word. We don't know what their names are. Like they're just nameless goons. Like that's
Right.
perfect.
So like, sticking with like the pilgrim Plymouth kind of idea. Um, we've never used the name Isaac, so let's just go with Isaac for one of them, and I don't know, James. So Isaac and James.
Okay,
I
yeah,
think that works.
Isaac and James. Okay, yeah, I like this idea of like, kind of old money, old American families. They live in Massachusetts. They live in Plymouth, like one of the oldest settlements, in the Americas. They're obviously rich. I mean, they're like Mayflower material, right? That's the
Right.
first thing I think of in terms of like their families came over on the Mayflower. So we got to use that last name somewhere too. Not for, Tom necessarily.
Mayflower.
Yeah, but let's use Mayflower. I think that would be funny. Like if there was, some family in town, maybe the girl that Tom is, gonna crush on, maybe she's like the daughter of the rich Mayflowers who are like the old money family on the hill, the rich of the rich.
It should totally be like the next door neighbor thing too, like the girl next door, like the sweet girl next door that this prick has a hard on for. So we could have scenes of like him watching out his bedroom window, like doing like the peeping Tom. His name's Tom. Um, we could totally play that up. So yeah, like I love that. So we have like he lives in this rich neighborhood, and hell, maybe the Mayflowers, they're like one of the oldest families in the area. Like they're the one of the most affluential families. So everyone really sucks up to the Mayflowers, including Tom's parents. Like they
Hmm.
they think they're such good people. Like it's that very waspy neighborhood.
Yes,
Um,
yes. There won't be a lot of like people of color probably in this story, unfortunately, right?
Yeah. Well, because it's that we want these people to be assholes. Like they're very much, yeah. Well, not everybody, but it's that type of neighborhood. The type of neighborhood that everything is manicured, like every lawn is manicured, every car looks pristine. It's just it's a very uh rich asshole
Yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, yeah. And they should all go, all these kids, Tom and Isaac and James, they're all like seniors at the same school. It could be, I
Yeah.
guess I guess there could be, a high school that caters to this neighborhood, but I think something like a private academy or like a Catholic school makes more sense. And
Oh yeah.
when you were describing the girl next door, I just for some reason immediately thought, oh yeah, she's the perfect little daughter, and she's gonna have that like schoolgirl uniform on that Tom like just drives him crazy,
Yep.
And so if they went to some kind of like an academy where she had to wear like a plaid skirt and those like white socks, those like knee socks that they pull up, and like little
Yep.
buckle sandals or whatever, and he's it's just gonna drive home that she unfortunately, I mean, this type of movie, she's very much the object of his like sexual perversion and his like obsessions.
Oh, of course, and I mean, and again, a little bit of my own history here. I went to a Catholic school, and I feel like any young man who has gone to a Catholic school and was entering puberty during that era, those fucking uniforms, man, they will get you every time. So I can understand Tom being like humana humana humana.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. And the
and
cheerleader uniforms too, with those short little skirts. Like she's got to be like the captain of the cheer squad or something like that
Oh, of
too.
course. And like of course she's going to be like, the in the universe of this movie, she's like the absolute 10, And okay, hold on, this is dumb, but I love it. So cuz again, boner comedy, she should have like really huge tits, and Tom being, we're naming him after a turkey, he's a breast man.
Ah, ah. Yes, exactly, exactly. But her family is very prim and proper, very prim and proper. So
Yes. Yes.
she, again, we always talk about how we hate to perpetuate stereotypes, but when we're going back and we're looking at movies in this time period, like it's like we said with One Spittin', like it was a different era. With Ace Ventura, it
Yeah.
was a different era. So for this type of movie and this despicable main character they were building, she is this like perfection on a pedestal that he just holds up like she's
Yep.
everything a woman should be, and she's exactly his type: big tits, blonde hair, skinny white girl in cheerleader and schoolgirl outfits. And yeah, and she's super popular obviously, and even though he's popular, I think even he thinks that she is out of his league.
Oh god, yeah. And that's the thing, like he should be that guy that like he's popular, but he's popular because he's, he's wealthy. Like his family, maybe his family is like one of the more wealthy families. Like they're not as wealthy as the Mayflowers, but they're
Yeah.
high up there. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
even though he's going to an academy with a bunch of other rich pricks, like he's got the money to throw around. Like he's got a nice car. And I love the fact that they're seniors, because like it would be really creepy if we were any younger, and it would be weird if they were in college and all still
Yeah.
living at home. So senior is kind of like the perfect, but of course by that point he would be driving. So
Hmm.
maybe he's got like this, classic convertible, like he's got this beautiful car. Everyone puts up with him, but they talk shit about him behind his back, cuz like no one really likes Tom, but they kind of have to, because he's, he's part of this influential family.
Hmm.
um so it's kind of like, oh yeah, hey Tom, like, and he has
Hmm.
his two cronies, but other than his two cronies, like everyone else just kind of tolerates him. And maybe the Mayflower daughter, we got to give her a name. How about Mary? Because we were talking about something about Mary, so
Yeah, oh,
Mary
yeah, yeah,
works.
yeah. Mary Mayflower, Mary, or give her like one of those like Catholic names, like I don't know, Mary Susan or something like that.
Mary Chastity.
Yes. Okay, okay. That's so perfectly on the nose. That's like the opposite of Tom being a pervert,
Yes.
like
And it's one of those like fucking pilgrim names,
yeah, yeah,
like the good wife or goody wife, and then there's like Chastity and this and they like they're always had one of those names thrown
yeah,
in there. So
like
Mary
prudence
Chastity
and
Mayflower.
temperance and chastity. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, perfect. I love it. Okay, all right. So let's, like I said, let's kind of hit the gas because yeah, this has been a long lead in. So I'm just gonna pose an idea. So let's introduce our characters. Let's do like a smash in scene. Let's start off on something exciting, and let's get to know Tom and his cronies like Isaac and James. So let's smash in on they're cruising in Tom's convertible and blast in music. I don't know what time of day it is. I don't know where they're going. I'm just saying, like, let's blast it. And, there's goofing around. I mean, I don't know how you were when you were a teenager, but when I used to cruise around with my friends, like, we would do dumb stuff like moon the cars at the stop
Oh
signs
yeah.
and, shit like that.
Absolutely.
Like, hang yourself out the window and, do the I'm the king of the world or whatever. And so, like, these guys are doing shit like that. And you can see, one of them, I don't know, one of them's got like a Letterman's jacket on. So, that guy's like an athlete. And then they just start bullshitting. And, Tom, he's got to start saying something like, oh man, again, I'm just making this up, so I don't know like what time of year it is, sorry, obviously it's Thanksgiving.
Right.
So
It should be
maybe
like early November.
yeah, yeah. So he's got to say something like there's some kind of festival in town, like a fall festival, because obviously it's Plymouth. So some event. My point is that he's gonna say, "Man, the fall festival this year. This is the year I'm gonna go with Mary Chastity. Like she's gonna be mine." And one of his friends has to say something like, "Yeah, whatever, like lover boy. Like you never get her. Like Miss Perfect up on the hill." And again, I'm not good at the dialogue, but we gotta just use this conversation to establish that Tom is a fucking perv. He's the kind of guy
Oh yeah.
who he can't look at a cupcake without thinking about a tit. He can't, he can't look at a hot dog without thinking about a girl eating it. Like everything he sees is some kind of sexual thing. He makes all kinds of really stupid sexual innuendo jokes constantly. And, his friends are a couple of like dude bros, but they all like rag on each other. But we can use this conversation to get to know him.
Yes. Okay. I think before we even get to that, let's do like an opening montage, right? So like we kind of, I'm picturing like the like American Pie opening, or like even better, not another teen movie. Like we talked about that. I love the montage opening of that, where we see all the different characters, like going to school and all this. So let's like we kind of zoom in on the town. We see the rich neighborhood. We see like Tom leaving for school. Maybe we see like he waves at Mary Chastity as she's like getting in her car and waving at him, all that. Like so we have the nice little
Hmm.
moments. We establish that they live next door to each other. That he's clearly like va 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 voom when he sees her. But then we should have like at school, like have maybe in gym class, like we see they're playing like dodgeball or something, and Tom like fucking hurls a ball at like some nerdy kid and like hurts him, or like he pantses some other kid and like everyone's laughing.
Yes. Yep.
Just a bunch of like asshole antics. Like maybe he stuffs a kid in a locker, he grabs another kid and like gives him a noogie, like he walks up to some girl, or like there's a girl bending over and he's like standing behind her, pantomiming like he's smacking her ass and humping her for his friends to laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
And then, she turns around and she's just like, oh, pig, and like pushes him off. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
we could have this quick montage of like, yes, Tom and his friends suck. They go to this rich school, people put up with them, but they suck. And then, yes, to your point, we do the thing with them cruising around town. So now, like, we have our quick little montage opening to kind of establish the setting, and then we see these characters and we get the dialogue of them talking, him talking about how he wants to fuck Mary,
Mm-hmm.
he wants to, this is his year, all that kind of thing, like you said. um
So
and yeah, like,
stupid.
it really is. So we should have like, and we, oh, what we should do here is we should, Mary is, again, she's gonna be like this sweet girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna be the epitome of what you think of like a nice young woman.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe like they drive past like the local homeless shelter or soup kitchen or whatever, and we see her walking into there,
Oh,
and
okay.
like maybe like Isaac or James could be like, what the fuck's Mary doing in there, like going with all those fucking hobos? And maybe Tom could be like, yeah, no, she volunteers there every day. She's so cool. Like, just kind of being like,
Yes.
he's enamored with her. Um, but we established like, she's volunteering at the, so while he's out doing nothing with his time,
Mm-hmm.
he's being a total dumbass. She's actually trying to give back to the community, even though she's rich. I want to have those polar opposites between those two.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and I definitely think we need to drive home more that Tom is a dick. I mean, yeah, he's a bully at school, but lots of people are bullies at school, and they can be redeemed. We saw
Sure.
that. I mentioned, Johnny from the Karate Kid, William Zabka, like he eventually gets redeemed, but I don't want that to happen. So we need to see
No.
more. There needs to be, some sequence. And again, I'm kind of getting out of order in terms of like, wait, where are they right now? But yeah, this opening montage, Tom and his friends are cruising around town. They see Mary Chastity going to the soup kitchen. Maybe they just stop and they pull like into the parking lot or up against the curb when they see her go in, and this is where they have this little conversation about, yeah, oh yeah, she works in there, like, I don't know, maybe. But again, Tom, instead of saying like, oh, she's so cool, he's got to be like, man, I don't know, maybe her dad has to make her do something, I guess. I don't know why she would go in there with all those fucking losers, but oh god, look at her walk
Yeah.
away, and and again, he's just a douche. He can't even see that, oh, she's doing something nice. He just immediately assumes that, someone put her up to it, or she's doing it for her college applications,
Credit.
yeah, that
Yeah.
that kind of shit, right? He doesn't understand. And then they're in a convertible, so this is a good opportunity for someone to walk over to the car, like they're at a soup kitchen. There's like a homeless person, someone who comes over to the car, hey, got a buck, and it's a guy who, he's not too clean, probably doesn't smell too good, and Tom and the double douches are gonna overreact, like, oh fuck, man, you fucking stink, bro. Oh my god, get the fuck away from my car. Like, you're gonna make the whole car
You smell
stink.
like
Don't even touch it.
you smell like microwaved ass.
Yeah,
Like, just
exactly. Like hot garbage.
exactly. But yeah, so they should, and that's the thing. Like maybe before he even says it, he should make a comment of like, how can she stand the smell, like being in there, like, oh, those
Oh
fucking
yeah.
homeless people, and then have like one of them come up and be like, oh, dude, you fucking smell like hot
Yeah.
garbage.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. He could be like, "Oh, how can she even stand the smell?" Like, man, I can smell it right now. Can you smell that? Oh God. And then yeah, they turn and there's a guy who's like, spare a quarter, and they're like, "Motherfucker."
right. And like we should totally have the thing where like he shoves the guy, like maybe he like shoves him into traffic, like causing someone to slam on their brakes, and then they speed off laughing, like they're just total pricks.
Yeah, yeah.
um but we should see him around town, like maybe they're I don't know, while they're driving around, Isaac or James, one of them pulls out a joint, they're smoking, passing it around, kind of just being generally bad kids. But what I want to have happen is we have to have some kind of bad thing happen here to Tom, just to kind of establish that he's not immune to bad shit happening. Like he's a prick,
Yeah, yeah.
but bad stuff's gonna happen to him in this movie.
Yeah.
So
Well, he's got to get
we
cursed,
already
right?
showed
With the turkey hands.
ex-
Where's the curse come from?
exactly. So like we should have like again, maybe just do the quick speed up montage of them being pricks around town. Hell, we could even have them fucking with the homeless people. Like maybe they got like a $50 bill on like a fishing line and they have it like, laying in the street. And then when a guy goes to grab it, they like speed off and he's like chasing after it and they're just cackling. Total prick behavior.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, after they like push that dude away from the car, they should, one of them is just like, "Oh, dude, I got an idea. Check this out. Check this out." And then, yeah, again, we jump forward to they're driving real slow with a $50 bill in front of the soup kitchen, and people are kind of, coming off the sidewalk. Maybe they're waiting in line. They come off, oh, and they're gonna start chasing it, and they're gonna peel off, and like leave him in the exhaust or whatever, and then they drive away, laughing, and then they're like, "Oh, dude, that's so much fun." And then we skip ahead again, and they're back at the soup kitchen, and they're doing something else. I don't know what it is, but like now they've decided that the best way to spend their day, because they don't have any fucking jobs or anything better to do, they're just like, "Oh, we're gonna keep fucking with these like homeless people, like fuck them, these stinky bastards." And we can do a couple of these pranks in a row, and
Mhm.
but then there's also a storytelling opportunity here, because at some point we can have maybe Mary Chastity comes out the back door to like throw like a bag of trash away. And I don't know how far they're going to go with these stupid pranks. Maybe they literally like threw a homeless person in the dumpster. They're just like, and Mary Chastity comes out the back door, and then you just see Tom immediately like run over to the dumpster, like, "Oh, here, let me help you. Like, I don't know how you fell in there, but let me help you out. Oh man, like you gotta go inside. Like they can give you a hot meal and let you get cleaned up." And then Mary Chastity comes out, "Tom, like, what are you doing here?" And Tom's like, "Oh, well, I was just driving by and I saw this poor hapless soul. He must have been looking for food and he fell in. I guess he
Ah,
didn't know he could just go
yeah.
right inside." And Mary Chastity's, "Oh, that's so sweet, teehee."
And we should have the homeless guy being like, he pushed me in, just like literally saying what happened,
Yeah,
and both of them are ignoring it.
yeah,
He's like, "You got any
yeah,
change?" He pushed
yeah.
me in. Like, what the hell?
He's like, "Oh, this guy, he must have fell in." Like, "No, I didn't fall in. I told you he pushed me in." And then Tom's like,
Yes.
you know, these old veterans, like they have a lot of mental illnesses, just
And
stupid.
she'll just be like, "Oh, Tom, you're so sweet," like,
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
Oh my god, that's fucking awful. So, but yeah, we should definitely have like we establish his two-facedness in this sequence. Um, but yeah, to your point, we got to get him cursed. So to just kind of like jump ahead a little bit, we'll have them still cruising around town, being dumbasses. They're at this point maybe they've been smoking for a while, or maybe one of them has a flask they're nipping on.
Of
So it's
course.
like they're drinking and driving, smoking and driving, all that kind of stuff. And then we should have just some, I don't know if it's another homeless person or maybe a dog, like something
hmm
runs out in front of the road, causing Tom to go off the road. So he's gonna like veer off the road, and like maybe it's down like a little hill and into like a public park where it's nearby the soup kitchen, but like maybe there's like a little homeless shanty town,
Okay, yeah.
like a couple like tents and tarps and stuff set up, and he just careens right through it, wrecking everything these poor people had, and like ends up crashing his car into a tree or something. And of course, he's not going to be like, "Oh my god, I almost killed four people." He's going to be like, "Fucking hobos, like you watch where you're going." Like they're at fault because he fucked up.
Yeah, exactly. And then all he cares about is like, "Oh my God, look at my car, my baby." Like, "Oh, you fucking bastards. Like, what are you guys doing out here?" And then maybe he sees the dog, or I don't know, maybe it's like a couple of dogs, but he sees them kind of like
Yeah,
run over into like the little encampment, and he's like, "Keep your fucking dogs out of the road, you fucking homeless losers." And he starts like kicking their shit and like pushing people, like, dude, you just like ran through their house, like their neighborhood. These
right.
people live there, and all you care about is not your car is wrecked, and then you're gonna blame them because there was a dog in the road. Like, what the fuck?
I didn't even think that's perfect because yeah, because homeless people a lot of times do have dogs, and yeah, like if they were the homeless people's dogs, like it would give him a reason to blame them. So that's perfect.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know why I'm picturing like, I don't know, like a Rottweiler, and I don't know if a Doberman, some kind of scary dog, right? Scary dogs,
Right.
and there's a couple of them. I keep thinking more than one just because I'm thinking of the movie Snatched, where they have like the pikey settlement that
Oh
they go
yeah.
to. And I'm sorry, I have literally have no idea if that's an offensive term, so I apologize. But the Irish Travelers that Brad
Right.
Pitt plays Mickey, and they live in this like encampment, and they just have a bunch of dogs. And so I immediately just thought like, oh no, there'd be more than one, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. It's now all I can hear in my head is you like dogs. Um,
Exactly.
fucking love that
Yeah.
movie. But yeah, so this whole thing happens. Maybe the cops show up, and then we smash cut to like Tom being brought home by the cops. Like and but again, because his family is very well to do and he's a little rich bitch, like the cops kind of give him a slap on the wrist, like, oh, there was a little fender bender, Mr. and Mrs. Spatchcock, like, you everyone's okay, but Tom's car is a little banged up, and we thought we better bring him home, and maybe it could just be like, now you drive careful, young man, like kind
Hmm.
of like he's totally getting off with no consequence whatsoever. And his parents, like they should be like, oh, we've been trying to help you, Tom, like we've gone through, like we've put up with your grades slipping, and we've put up with you not having any extracurriculars, but this is the last straw, gosh darn it, you're gonna learn some responsibility.
Right.
And then have like Tom's mom be like, "Oh, well, the Mayflower's daughter, that oh, she's such a sweet girl. She volunteers down at the local soup kitchen, and maybe Tom should do that." And have his dad be like, "Yep, that's it. You're gonna volunteer at the soup kitchen. You'll learn some responsibility." And Tom's just
Yeah.
like, "Oh God, no." And then
Oh,
she's like, "Well, Mary's there tomorrow." And then he'll be like, "Oh wait, Mary,"
yeah.
like kind of
Yeah, exactly. Oh yeah, it should be. Hang on. Yeah, let's just tweak that just a little bit. I love it. I love it. So yeah, his mom have her say something like, yeah, the Mayflowers, they sponsor that soup kitchen, down on Fifth Street or whatever. That's perfect. He can go there. And the dad's like, yes, exactly. From now on, you're gonna go volunteer at the soup kitchen starting tomorrow. And again, Tom's a dick. So he wouldn't even be respectful to his own parents. He's going to be the kind of 17-year-old who's going to be like, "Oh, well, what the fuck, dad?"
yep.
Like, and then just like, "You want me to go and serve food to those fucking stinky losers? I got better things to do. Fuck this." And then his mom is like, "Oh, honey, watch your language." Like they're
Right.
they're they're terrible parents because they just like let him run all over them. And then have her say something like, "Oh yeah, he's starting tomorrow. That's right. That's right. I know that the Mayflower's daughter, Mary Chastity, she's working there tomorrow. She can show you the ropes." And then he's like, "Yeah, yeah, Mary Chastity. Yeah, yeah. I think I know her. Yeah, okay, I'll go." Like, it's just
Suddenly plays it cool, like,
yeah, yeah,
oh, Mary, okay,
yeah.
yeah.
Suddenly he's Stallone, I guess, too.
Yeah. Oh, Mary, she like good food.
Yeah,
Um,
she got some big boobies.
oh, she got some big knockers on her.
Hey,
But
yeah, yeah.
I feel like
So
Stallone would use the word
yeah,
knockers,
he would knockers, right?
whereas Schwarzenegger would totally say boobies.
Yeah, boobies, boobies, boobies. Exactly.
Exactly.
Oh
Look
man.
at my boobies, Jack. Um,
Okay.
I
So
love that.
again, sorry, I feel like we're spending a lot of time like because we're having fun with the jokes. And it's like, oh fuck, we gotta get to we haven't fucking cursed him yet. Hurry up, let's go. So,
Right.
yeah. So we jump forward the next day at the soup kitchen, and of course Tom's gonna be a dick. So he's gotta like roll in all smooth like, "Oh, hey, Mary Chastity." And of course, she's like, "Oh, Tom, like, what are you doing here?" And he's like, "Oh, well, I saw you here yesterday, and I just couldn't help but think about all the good you were doing to help these people out. And after that guy, fell in that dumpster so foolishly." And of course, that guy is sitting right there at the table. He's like, "You pushed me." You know?
Yes.
Exactly. He's like, I couldn't stay away. I was up all night thinking about how I wanted to come down here and help you out. And then, Mary Chastity's like, "Oh, that's perfect. That's so great. I can show you around." And the manager, Felicity, she's over here somewhere. You know Felicity, right? She graduated last year in the class ahead of us. You remember Felicity? Wilder or something like that, right? He's like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, yeah, sure." And then he's like, "Okay, whatever." So we do this whole little scene. We don't have to walk through all the dialogue. Yeah, and then maybe there's a little bit of a montage where they're showing him around, and of course every time they show him, Mary Chastity or Felicity shows him something. it's always like, oh yeah, yeah, perfect, I got this. And as soon as they walk away, he's just like rolls his eyes, like, oh my God, fucking stupid. And maybe he's making a soup and they showed him, oh, put in the tomatoes and put in, the potatoes, and they walk away and he's just like dumping shit in, like whatever, fuck this, fuck this, fuck this, like stir it up, done.
Yes.
Like he just doesn't give a fuck.
Real quick, Felicity. I'm picturing like as soon as you said the name, like I don't know why, but I'm picturing like a Velma type of character where it's like the hot nerd, kind of
Yes,
like
nice.
the like we got Mary with the huge tits. Like Felicity should have like the nice hips and the big butt.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like so when they're like talking to him, like Tom's like and like staring at
Hmm.
Mary's tits, and then when they like start walking away
Yeah.
to show him the next area, he's staring at Felicity's ass like
Uh-huh.
like
Yeah,
just
exactly.
total perving on both of them.
Yeah.
Just
He doesn't hear a word they say. Just like, yeah, yeah, sure.
yeah,
Tomatoes, 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 tomatoes.
yeah, I like them tomatoes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Oh God. And then okay, so I think this is a good opportunity to like just kind of ramp up. You know, I feel like we're kind of circling around. If we're gonna do some kind of a curse, like something in the soup kitchen, someone in the soup kitchen, one of these people here. Maybe it's one of the homeless people is, I don't know, some kind of a mystic or something. I don't know. Like we'll figure it out. So, let's just ramp this up let's have it be like, he's in the back and he's just like, fucking around, like, wasting time. Again, it's the late 90s, so he wouldn't be back there just like sitting on a phone, but whatever people used to do when they were just like, bored stiff. And he's not the kind of person who's going to read a novel. So maybe he's literally just, I don't know, he's sitting there staring into nothing, putting his, finger through like the circle fingers on his other hand, like doing little dick motion with his hands, like he's just being an idiot. And then maybe he's bored and he's walking around and maybe he picks up like a cold turkey, like an uncooked turkey, and he's just kind of dancing it around on the counter, and then he like looks up and he
Wait, wait.
he picks up and looks at it like, oh, they fucking neutered this thing.
I like where you're going, but a couple things. One, I want to. What you mentioned, the mystic, the homeless mystic guy. Like, it should be like, and I don't know if this is offensive, so I'm sorry if it is. But I was thinking like a Native American kind of like more of a shaman type character. Like someone
Yeah.
has like, but definitely a native. And he should be in the homeless camp that Tom runs down. Like we should see this
Oh,
guy.
yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
he's one of the guys that Tom is yelling at. So then fast forward to when he's working at the soup kitchen, he's there with some of the other homeless guys, like including the guy he threw in the dumpster.
Hmm.
So we see this guy has been like watching Tom the entire time.
Perfect.
And to your point, like when you said that they're showing him the ropes, like and he's so bored, he doesn't care. But then they're gonna leave him to do some tasks. So
Hmm.
like they're like, oh, this is how you make the soup. Now this has got to cook for so many hours and blah blah blah, and then you got to take it out to the front,
Hmm.
and they're kind of running him through it. And he's standing back there like when no one's watching, and he's stirring the pot. Maybe he like looks around and like fucking horks a snot rocket in it, and
Ah,
just
yes.
again, he's a prick. And then like they show him like the back room where they have all the donations, like, oh, these are blankets and clothes and all the stuff that people have donated that we can give out to the people who come here. And like as soon as they leave, Tom like opens the one box and it's like a bunch of like church clothes, like one of those
Hmm.
church clothes donations.
Yep.
And he just fucking pisses on him, be like,
Oh.
it's gonna make it smell better. Like he's just, again,
Oh,
we want to
yeah.
hate this guy.
Yes.
So whenever he's bored, he's doing something fucked up. So again, you'd mentioned the turkey, and I love that, but we never established what Tom's parents do. What if like his dad is some kind of like poultry distributor, kind of like a Tyson,
Oh,
Tyson
yeah.
chicken kind of maverick, someone who owns, fuck, it could be like Spatchcock Industries,
Yeah.
like we could have it become, and he's like, that's where they made their money, was that. And his company, like he's donating turkeys, to the soup kitchen to kind of be
Hmm.
like, oh well, it's our annual thing that we do to help the little guy type of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So Tom is left to his own devices, and maybe he's like, like, I love the idea of him just sitting there going and like doing the finger poke thing.
Hmm.
But his friends should come, like, so James and Isaac should come, like, knock on the back door
Hmm.
and have him just like, hey, what are you guys doing? And be like, hey, like, what are you doing here, man? And like they stand in the alleyway. He's of course got to like, act up for his friends, be like
Hmm.
how cool he is, like, oh, my fucking parents are making me do this, blah blah blah. But we should see a delivery come for Thanksgiving because it's like it's
Yeah.
coming up.
Hmm.
So like, maybe Felicity's like, "Oh, Tom, good, you're already in the alleyway. Can you help load that in? Like, I got to take care of some stuff in the front end. All right,
Perfect.
thanks." And he's like, "Oh, fuck, all right." So he's like, the guy, the delivery driver, like unloads a couple of boxes onto like a hand cart, and Tom's like taking it in the kitchen, and maybe he opens, he's like, "I'm so fucking sick of these damn turkeys," and he could do something like, maybe he starts fisting one of them, like, look at this, and then like he literally puts both, like, two turkeys on his hands, and
Yes.
it's like parading them around. The homeless guys that were watching him, like, maybe they're leaving the soup kitchen and they
Hmm.
pass the alley and see him, and he's fucking around with the turkeys, and then like he maybe look over and be like, "What are you fuckers looking at?" And he could throw the turkeys in the dumpster and be like, "Hey, get here early, we might be low on turkey this
Oh
Thanksgiving."
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like totally just wasting food, being a prick, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and his two friends are there too. Like, uh they pick up, same thing. Like they pick up a turkey, or and again they stop by to be like, "What are you guys doing?" And doing the same thing. Maybe one of them is like dancing with it or slapping it, or tossing it around. They're tossing it back and forth, like playing like monkey in the middle, just dumb shit. But Tom, yeah, he's doing the worst. He starts throwing them all away, and then his two buddies are like, "Yeah, fuck yeah, dude, watch this. I can," and they start like dumping whole boxes, and then like you said, the sort of like a shaman guy and his couple of friends, they stop and look, and the shaman guy is just giving him this like blank stare, and Tom, he's almost like it's a challenge, right? So Tom picks up one of the turkeys. He's
Hmm.
like, "What do you think about this, motherfucker?" And he literally just like unzips and starts fucking the turkey, like he's humping the fucking turkey in the alleyway, like, "Ha, this one's just for you. This is dinner for you. Thanksgiving night. I'll make it special for you. I got my own like special gravy just for you, Grandpa." Like, just
my own
gross.
my own secret herbs and spices.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Just gross, you know what I mean? And this mystic guy should just keep staring him down. And it's the first time we should ever see Tom doubt himself a little bit. Like after he does all that, he's just like, "What are you gonna do about it? What are you gonna do about it, huh? Huh?" And then the mystic just keeps staring him down. And then finally he just throws the turkey in the dumpster. He's like, "Come on, guys, let's get the fuck out of here." And they take off, and you just see the shaman. He's just watching him, and Tom looks over his shoulder one time, like, "Fucking retard," because of course he would use that word. It was that time,
Of course.
exactly. And he's a dickhead. And then of course you're gonna see Mary Chastity like come out the back door of the soup kitchen, like, "Tom, where'd you go?" And then we can kind of cut from there, but it's like, okay, there it is. We've kind of like laid the groundwork of something's gonna happen.
Yes. So okay, like and maybe we could even have a comment here, like Mary could say something like, "Oh, there's a lot less turkeys this year than before." And it's like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I don't know. Like, times are tough for everyone." Maybe,
yeah.
again, playing it off like I didn't do anything wrong.
Hmm.
Um, but that night, like, so okay, so we should fast forward to like that night. Tom's in bed. We should see, like, and that this should be juxtaposed with the homeless people that are kind of like in their new like encampment, so we see Tom sleeping, and maybe he's dreaming about Mary. So like we see, like, him sleeping, and then like a flash of like Mary's cleavage, and him being like, "Oh," like he's like, yeah, having this good dream. But then cut to the homeless people, and we see the like the old mystic sitting around the fire, like, and he's muttering to himself, and we see he's holding a picture from the newspaper where it's like, yeah, the spatchcocks donate, blah blah blah, and they
Oh,
like whatever
nice.
money they're doing, and we see a picture of Tom and his parents, and the mystic is holding it, and he's muttering to himself. We cut back to Tom, he's having the sex dream, and then we cut back to the mystic, and then the mystic burns the photo, and like kind of like looks up at the stars, and then we
Hmm.
cut back to Tom, and in Tom's dream, suddenly he's dreaming like he's one of the pilgrims, but
Okay.
like he's like fucking over the natives, right? Like he's stealing shit, like he's burning teepees, like he's being a total fucking prick. And we hear like this chanting in the dream, and then we hear like like gobbling sounds, right?
Yes.
So he's like, and it's cutting back and forth between like Mary's tits and like her mouth, and then like him doing horrible things and the turkey gobbling, and then he wakes up in a cold sweat. He's like, "What the hell?" Like, "Oh, what the fuck?" And then maybe he, like, right before that, he sees the old mystic's face, and
Yeah.
then he like
Hmm.
wakes up, and then he gets up to go get a drink, and like he's in his bathroom, because of course his bedroom would have a bathroom off it. He's a rich bitch, and he's in there drinking drinking some water. He goes back to get in bed, and he pulls the covers back, and there's a turkey feather in his bed. And he's like,
Okay.
"What the hell? How'd this get here?" And it's
Yeah.
like, curiouser and curiouser.
Yes. Nice. Okay. Oh, I love that. I love that. Okay. Yeah, we gotta like just kind of tease it a little bit. So, okay. So let's jump ahead the next day, and again, we had mentioned that like I don't know that like fall festival, Thanksgiving festival, whatever it is that they do in Plymouth, for the big holiday, because it's obviously huge for them. So we again cut back to town or school, or I don't know where the hell they are. School's probably fine, and let's have Tom. Let's just have him like shoot his shot. He just spent some time hanging out with Mary Chastity the day before. Oh, this is perfect. Hey, maybe Mary Chastity comes up to him for the first time and is like,
Mhm.
"Oh, hey, what happened to you yesterday? We were unloading all the turkeys, and I was gonna ask you. There weren't as many turkeys as usual, and I thought, maybe you knew you heard something from your dad or whatever, but you were gone." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There was something wrong with the shipment. It's like you said, I had to go back to like the loading dock and like give them hell, and I really told those guys what for. They didn't deliver you enough. Don't worry, there's more coming." He's like trying to play the hero all of a sudden, right? And
Yep.
um and then this is where he can kind of shoot his shot. Like she finally spoke to him for the first time, and he can be like, "Well, you think maybe like you want to, I don't know, you and me, we could like hang out or something, uh, just real for the first time he's kind of like tongue tied, but the whole time he's just like looking straight at her fucking cleavage, right? She's got, yeah, her
Of
white
course.
her white shirt is like unbuttoned a little bit. It's like just barely like a half an inch of like the top of boob, and he's just like focused on it and like sweating, and she's just like I don't know, Tom, like a date thing, and she starts to say, "Cause I'm not really," and then he cuts her off like, "Oh, no, 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 not like a date, like just to hang out, like we work together, we should get to know each other, and I was gonna hang out with the boys, James and Isaac, and we thought." You should tag along, like come hang out with us. It's like he's trying to like weasel his way in there, and he's being pretty smooth, but I don't know if she's noticed that like her eyes aren't down there, right? It's like
Exactly. Oh, I'm sure she noticed because he's not going to be subtle.
yeah, that actually would
So
be
yeah,
that would be kind of a funny thing if at the end of their conversation she can kind of like lean over and like look him in the eye like yeah, sure, I guess, like, oh yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah, 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 sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, oh, dude, it should be like, okay, so he's like, when he asks her to hang out, like he's just like, yeah, maybe we should hang out, and maybe she could be like, like, are you talking like a date or like as friends? And it'd be like, wow, and she's like, because we're friends, Tom, and have him be like, well, yeah, yeah, no, totally, totally, like friends,
Hmm.
and that's like when maybe she should lean down in his field of vision at that point and be like, because we're friends, Tom.
Yeah,
Like
exactly.
she's totally aware that he's looking at her tits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, 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 yeah. Just like a friend thing, like James and Isaac, and like bring a friend, and like whatever. And then we can cut to later, and there's some hangout in town. Well, I don't know where do the kids hang out these days. Like I don't know, in the in the late '90s, like I was hanging out at Denny's. I don't know where.
I was gonna say in the late '90s we were all at diners drinking coffee and smoking.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe, in this town, and because they're rich, maybe they can support like an arcade, right? Or a one of those places like in the Karate Kid where, there's like arcade games and like basketball, and this is Massachusetts, and it's, in November, so maybe there's like an ice skating rink. It's this kind of like entertainment complex where all the teenagers hang out, and there's like a snack bar, and they're just hanging out, and because they're just friends, so there's Tom, and James and Isaac are there as his wingmen, and there's like a pizza on the table, and Mary Chastity's there, and she brought a friend or two. I don't know if it's important, but I just think putting the two of them together like makes Tom really uncomfortable, so like that's really what I want to do here. Yeah, so obviously, Tom is being like a pervy dude again, and maybe he makes up some excuse, or he says something, to James and Isaac like, "You fucking dickheads, like, be a gentleman, like, ask the ladies to like skate, why don't you?" And he looks at Mary like Chastity like, "Children, right? Pff, they don't know any, no manners." It's like, He's just trying to like fucking get rid of him, and then the other two girls, they're like from the cheer squad, and they both kind of roll their eyes like, all right, you know,
Right,
they kind of take off and they leave. Maybe Mary Chastity says like, wait, no, like. And then they're like, no, Mary, it's okay, it's okay. But like, there's that split second where she's like, don't leave me alone with him, just for like a minute, right?
right.
um,
Like it's clear that she doesn't really want to be there by herself with him.
Yeah, exactly. So, I know, and again, he's gonna shoot his shot like right away, be like, well, I'm glad we got a chance to like hang out like this. I thought, hey, this is really fun. We should do this. We should do this again sometime. Like, hey, the Thanksgiving festival's coming up. Like, we should go together. And then again, she's like, together as friends, right? Like tonight because we're friends. Same kind of thing. And
Right.
we should let's start ramping things up a little bit. Maybe I mentioned it's like an ice skating rink. I don't know if that really works, but something maybe he like takes his jacket off and he's like, "Ooh, it's like always really hot in here. I don't know why they keep it so hot in here this time of year. Like it's not that cold yet, and maybe he's same thing." And she's like, "Yeah, you know what? It is kind of hot in here." And maybe she like takes off her sweater too, and she just has like a you know something kind of sexy on. And I don't think she's thinking about it, but as soon as she takes that sweater off of her bare shoulder, you just see him like humming, humming. He's a fucking perv, so he can't handle it, and he's like sweating, and he's like, wow, I'm really sweating, like it's really hot in here, like I might need to like take off another layer, ha ha ha. And he's staring at her, and she's like, I think that she understands that he's a perv, but she's a little bit oblivious to it. And maybe she just starts talking like, I'm so glad you came down to the soup kitchen. And, Felicity and I, we just worked so hard and we're glad to have the help. It's so cool that you want to give back to the community. Felicity has shown me, how to do so many things since I've been there. And like, I had no idea. Felicity really opened up my eyes. And she's just kind of talking. And he's just like, uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh. He's just like he stared at her, and it's like we see his point of view. Like he's looking at her tits. He's looking at that little indent at like the bottom of her throat, where it like meets her
Yep.
collarbone. He's like looking at her fucking her earlobe, and she like pushes her hair behind her ear, and he's just like, oh, and it's like everything she does. It's like he's just getting like really worked up.
She should have like a milkshake or something in front of her, and like she takes the cherry off of the top of the milkshake and like is biting it or like putting it in her mouth, and we do the close up on like her tongue like pulling the cherry off the stem, and he's like, "Oh my god," like he's just
Yeah.
losing his shit, right? Um and then yeah, like he should get like real like kind of like woozy and be like, I need a minute," and like maybe he gets up and goes to the bathroom, and we see like his arms are all like getting like red and like his skin is just red and flushed, like he's just like, what the fuck,
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
I gotta calm down, I'm so warm, and he's like splashing water in his face, and we see his arms, especially his forearms and hands, should almost look like he's breaking out in a rash, like it's all
Hmm.
red
Yeah.
and bumpy like plucked chicken skin, like that kind of
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
like, and he's like, what the fuck, like, oh my god, I can't let her see me like this, and like he goes back out like to the table, like grabs his coat, and like, I gotta go, I'm not feeling too well, and have her be like, Tom, are you okay? But like, yeah, no, I'm fine, I'll see you tomorrow at the kitchen. He like takes off because
Yeah.
he's kind of panicking, right?
Oh, hey, hang on.
So
Wait,
then,
one
okay.
last like nail to drive in. Like, yeah, as he says that, like, oh, I gotta go, and he like maybe he like rushes over to grab his jacket, and he like whips it off the back of the chair, and it knocks into that milkshake that she had in front of her. It's like half empty, but it like spills like right on the front of her, like right on her shirt, like her white shirt, of course. You're right.
She's got cream on her tits.
Yes, exactly. Right. And of course she just jumps up like, "Oh, Tom, like oh, it's okay. It's an accident. Oh God." And but all he sees is it's like the POV goes to his face where well, actually, before that, it's like that scene in Jaws where they do that camera effect where you see, Chief Brody on the beach, and it's like that weird zoom in where they zoom out at the same
Yes.
time, and we see that on his face, and he's going beet red, and then we turn the POV into his view, and then it's like his eyes like enhance, it's like a microscope. It's just like right on their tits, and he's just like, oh my god, I gotta go, and he like grabs his shit and just runs, and she's just standing there like covered in milkshake, like what the fuck.
Yes. Okay, so like this whole sequence would be like, in the evening that they're out and about. So he rushes home, and like we should have him like that night in his room, kind of like pacing back and forth, like, oh my god, so stupid, stupid, like hitting his head, like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, but the whole time, again, he's having those flashes. Like he's thinking like, Mary's
Hmm.
tits. He's thinking Mary's mouth with the chain. He's like, oh my god, she's so fucking hot. And he's like, oh, I don't have a chance now. And then he just keeps thinking about the titties, and he looks around, he looks, can maybe like he looks at the clock. It's like 11 o'clock at night or
Hmm.
something. So, oh, mom and dad are in bed. Looks over at the bottle of Jergens on his nightstand and is like, "Fuck it." So we just see. I'm picturing from like behind. So we see Tom grab the bottle, like squirt some in his hand, drop his freaking his boxers to the floor, and just start going to town.
Oh
So we're
God.
we're kind of like seeing from the upper back of him, just like so that there's that shoulder motion, like he's really getting into it. And we just hear that like slapping noise, like he's really going to town. Um,
It starts like
but
squelching,
yeah, exactly. And again, we're seeing those flashes, like he's thinking about her tits, thinking about her mouth, like thinking about her pushing the hair behind her ear, and he's just like, oh my god, oh my god. But while that's happening, like we could start hearing like the chanting music from his dream, like the deep like native chanting, followed by the like the gobbling sounds,
Yes.
and we see like his face is getting red. He's like, oh god, I'm almost there. Oh god, and then we hear like a crunch. He's like, oh, what the fuck? And he looks down, and his dick is now in the beak of a Muppety turkey. Like it looks like the Thanksgiving like Muppet turkey, and it's biting his dick, and he's just like, ah! Starts screaming,
Yes.
looks down at his other hand, and it's a full fucking turkey flapping on, going, and he starts screaming and like beating his hands on the dresser, like trying to get his dick out of this bird mouth. And he's just slamming shit around, knocking over his lamp, just like losing his mind, screaming bloody murder. And then we should see like his mom come running to the bedroom door, be like, Tommy, are you okay? And he's like, oh God, oh my God. And he like jumps in bed and like covers himself up. Now he's still got turkey hands.
Yeah.
And they're like fluttering around under his blankets. And his mom could come in and be like, oh Tommy, are you okay? You sounded awful. He's like, I just had a bad dream, Mom. I had a bad dream. You can go. You can leave now. And she's like, "Are you sure? You look really flushed." And like she comes over and like puts her hand on his forehead. He's like, "Oh God!" Like, and like the whole time we can see like the bottle of Jergens on his nightstand,
Yeah.
and like his boxers on the floor. Then like have his dad come in and be like, "What's going on?" Be like, "I don't know. Tom was screaming," and then he can see his dad sees the Jergens. It's like Eugene Levy in American Pie.
Yeah.
Like his dad sees the Jergens, sees the underwear, sees Tom, sees the motion under the blankets, and he can be like, honey, come on, let's go. Let's let him get some sleep."
Yeah.
And like he shoos her out of the room, and he looks back at it and be like, "Control yourself, boy." Just closes the door.
Yes. Yes. Oh God. Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and this would be perfect because like he's totally mortified by his parents coming in, and and as soon as they slam the door, he should just like whip the sheet back, like, oh my God. But when he whips the sheet back, his hands are hands again. And of course, this should be the kind of movie where people talk about like there's that one scene where he whips the sheet back and it's just like full on dick with like a bite mark on it, like just in the camera.
Yes.
Like we're not gonna cut away. Like we want to see that.
It's like just a prosthetic bruised dick.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, so like after his parents, leave the room, like his dad shoos mom out of the room, and he looks, he's like, "What the fuck is wrong with me?" And then he's just gonna be laying there in bed, like staring at the ceiling. Obviously, because how the hell do you cope with the fact that your hands just turned into turkeys and bit your dick? Like, that's something I feel like as a young boy you would not be ready for. So we could cut to like the next day. So obviously he's going to be laying up in bed most of the night, not going to get much sleep. Cut to school the next day. He's on his way to gym class. So it's like, he's groggy, he's tired, he goes to gym class, and then like maybe Isaac could slap him on the back and be like, "Man, it's Friday, it's fucking co-ed gym day," and I'm like,
Nice.
"Oh God, no!" Like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that makes sense actually. I like that idea because I don't know about you when you went to high school, but when I went to high school, all of our gym classes were co-ed except for the locker rooms were on like different ends of the gym. But it makes sense that he goes
Oh,
to this like private Catholic school, right? They probably keep the boys and girls separated most of the time, right?
oh yeah. See, now when I was in high school, we literally had like once a month, like a co-ed day where it was kind of like it was kind of like a free play day where it's like some people be playing basketball, some people be playing volleyball. Like they'd have different like sections set up.
Yeah, yeah,
Me and my friends, because we were just kind of like bored nerds and we hated all we hated gym. We
yeah.
just kind of like stood in a circle and bounced a basketball between us, and as long as we were using a piece of sporting equipment, the teacher left us alone. So we're just like
Nice.
whatever. But yeah, so we figure yeah, co-ed would probably be a once in a while thing for this private academy. So yeah, we should get like the shocked expression on Tom's face of like, oh no, and then smash cut to like all the boys on one side of the gym, all the girls on one side of the gym. They're getting ready to play volleyball. They're splitting up into teams, and then we'll kind of just like recreate the Top Gun volleyball scene where
Yes.
it's like slow motion, but it's like all these buxom, girls like jumping and slapping the ball like titties bouncing under their white
Yeah.
gym shirts.
Yes, exactly. For some reason, every girl who goes to the school just has like huge jugs, you know? It's,
Oh, of course, because it's
yeah.
a boner comedy.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah,
but
yeah,
like,
and there's got to be two of the girls who like they give each other a high five and then they give each other like a big hug and it's like a
oh god,
very very sort of intimate. Yeah, exactly. And then maybe and Tom is just like panicking, like you see like close up on his face and he's sweating, and maybe he like looks over at his friends and he sees other guys on the boys team and they're like looking at the girls and high fiving each other like, yeah, man, woohoo! Like they're loving it. And normally Tom would be right there with them, probably catcalling the girls, but instead he's just like, oh no.
the turkeys. Like we should totally have like I love when you said that the two girls hug. We should have a scene where they do that like the slow motion jumping up and down while hugging each other.
Yes,
So it's
yes.
just like jiggle, 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 and we should be juxtaposing all the slow motion, volleyball action with like close-ups, like the extreme close-up of Tom's eyes, just like a
Hmm.
strip across the screen of his eyes, like panning back and forth, like sweat beads running down his face, looking all nervous, and then like cut in on like his arms and hands, and it's getting like all the pimply goose flesh, like it's all red and rashy looking, like panting, almost like a how you would see like a werewolf change in a horror movie. Like
Yeah, that's
same kind
perfect.
of concept.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. I'm thinking of like hell, even in like Teen Wolf, he goes through that like werewolf change, like in the gym. It's like what
Oh
a
shit! I didn't even think about that.
I love this idea, the transformation. Yeah, so again, we should do this back and forth a little bit, like just really, really drive it home that all the pervy boys and the girls, they're just having fun. But at one point, Tom, you see his eyes darting back and forth, and like there's sweat running down off of his eyebrows, and then you have him like look down at his hands. Now picture this camera angle. It's his POV looking down at his own hands. So his hands would be like in the foreground, right? It would be kind of like blurred out
Right,
behind that, and then you see this transformation, but it would be this really like old school effect where it's clearly like a time lapse where they're slowly adding like latex goose flesh to his arms and like little feathers.
yes,
You see it's sort of like it's like it's very obvious, like it almost looks like claymation. It's like kind of not very smooth.
kind of
um
like the scene where Henrietta's head goes all long and weird monster and the end of Evil Dead 2, where it like slowly stretches out in camera. It's like and it's all,
yeah,
all the claymation movement. It
yeah,
would be
yeah.
like that, like the slow buildup of the goose flesh.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Or like, the sort of opposite way of the how the Nazi dude gets melted at the end of Raiders of the Lost Ark, or
Yes.
the other Nazi dude like turns to dust at the end of the Last Crusade, you know? um, yeah, perfect. And then so it's like you see this goose flesh and like feathers appear, and then it's this like sort of zoom shift, right, where the camera focus changes from the foreground to the background, so his hands go blurry, and what you see clearly in focus behind or underneath his hands, since he's looking down, is you just see his giant raging boner sticking out of his gym shorts or like tenting them up, his
Yes.
And then you just go back to his eyes, and his eyes panic, and he's like, ah! And then he like looks around like he's broken out of the spell of like, the bouncing boobies, and he looks around and he sees all the girls on the other side of the net, and they're starting to like point and laugh and like titter behind their hands, and he looks over at his friends, and they're just like, it's still in slow motion because they're just like, dude, what the fuck,
A bunch of other dudes are like pointing and laughing and like hitting each other on the shoulder, like, look at him,
Yeah, exactly. And then he just panics and like he just screams and like runs away.
I'm almost picturing that scene from Johnny the Homicidal Maniac where somebody put shit in my pants and he just like
Yes,
screams and runs off.
exactly. I love that scene. The fucking meanwhiles.
They're so good.
Yeah, so we cut to him like he runs into the boys' locker room, and he just runs straight into the shower, turns the shower on cold, and he's standing there in his gym clothes and sneakers, just getting doused in cold water. Like, dude needed a cold shower, right? and,
Right.
and he's like, he calms down, and he looks back down at his hands, and they're like back to normal, and he's just so relieved, like, oh my god, thank God, oh gosh. And then he hears one of his buddies like, honestly, I forget which is which, but Isaac, James, whatever, like they're interchangeable. But like, let's say
Right.
let's say James comes in the locker room and he's like, "Dude, Tom, you okay, man? Like, you in here barfing or something? Like, what's going on?" And Tom, he comes out of the shower like all drenched, and he's like shivering now because he's cold, and he doesn't say anything. And James is just like, "Dude, like, what's wrong, man? You okay? You coming down with something? Oh fuck, look at this. Motherfucking Isaac's got a Playboy in his locker. Check this shit out." And he just opens it straight to the centerfold and holds it up into the camera. And then you just see Tom, he like takes one look at it. And it's that scene you see in a lot of movies where they start screaming, but then you zoom out to like show the school from like a bird's eye view, and the scream like echoes through town. You
Yes.
know?
Oh my god. Oh my god, I love that. And it's funny because that's almost where I was gonna go with this. Like, I was, as soon as you said he pulls out the Playboy, I was like, oh god, he's gonna scream and run away. What I pictured was the scene. God, I can't remember which Treehouse of Horrors it is. I think it's the one where Homer is going through time with the magical toaster,
Yeah, yeah,
and he gets to one. I think it's there's what are donuts, and he screams like 3 times, like and then just like takes off running.
yeah,
Like, that's kind of what I was picturing. But I love the pan out where you should hear it like echoing, and then just have like one person like walking by the school, like, huh, kind
yeah.
of like, what?
Exactly right. Yeah, and then we got to cut to him like he's running home. He's back like in his regular clothes now, but he's running home. He doesn't have his car because he wrecked it the other day. But you see him. He's just like full tilt, tearing through his neighborhood. He runs into his house. Like his parents are sitting in the living room. Like reading the paper and knitting or whatever, some kind of
Yeah,
stereotypical
exactly.
bullshit. You know, and then he runs in, and his dad is just like, "Hey, son, how was your day at school today? Aren't you home a little early?" And it's just like, "No time, Dad." And he just, whatever. He just runs upstairs, throws his backpack down, runs upstairs, slams the door, and then his mom, turns to look at his dad. And he's like, "These kids these days, are they on drugs or something?"
I'm almost picturing the parents in Class Act. And again, I know that's an obscure
Yeah,
reference for the listeners,
I love
but
it.
like, I love that movie so much, but every time that I forget the names of the characters in it, but basically Kid's character of Kid and Play, they every
Yeah,
time he comes home and like runs past his parents, they think something's wrong with him
yeah,
because like he's acting so different now. So I'm picturing the parents being like, "Oh, that boy ain't right," that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, so he's gonna be like, we should have this whole scene. Like, he ran home early, so school hasn't let out yet. Like, clearly everyone in gym class saw something. Like, yeah, they saw something for sure. But no, they saw him panic. His friends saw him panic. Like, people are gonna be wondering. So he's in his room, like pacing back and forth, like, what the fuck's wrong with me? Like, what's going on? He's like looking at his hands, like trying to figure it out. And then we should hear like a car door slam next door, and then have him look out and see Mary Chastity, and it's just like, oh, there she is. And she goes inside. Maybe he like grabs like a pair of binoculars or something and is like watching her. And we should have, like he watches her go in the front door and then like changes the view up to
hmm
her bedroom window. And like we see her walk in the room, she sets her bag down, sets her stuff down, and starts changing out of her uniform. And of course, Tom being the pervert that he is gonna be like, oh God. I, I gotta see this. Like, what's going on? And like again, we're gonna see the view solely through the binoculars.
Yep.
So it's like we see her take off her top. She's walking around in her bra, like moving stuff around. Maybe she takes her little skirt off. So it's like, and we see she was like wearing a thong underneath. So he's got like booty cheeks in the window, and he's like, oh god. And again, he's gonna be like panting heavy, and then she goes to undo her bra, and like we're gonna totally screw over the audience here because there's a lot of these boner comedies where you think you're gonna see titties and they do the pull away. So
Yeah.
that's exactly what we're gonna do here. We're gonna see she's just about to unleash the girls, and then you just see a turkey, like a muppety turkey head, poke in frame of the binoculars and go. And
Yes.
Tom freaks the fuck out and is like running around his room with the damn turkey heads, and we're just gonna pan down to mom and dad like looking up at the ceiling nervously.
Yeah, it's like
Like, I think he's on drugs.
exactly. Oh, I love that. Fuck, dude. Fuck, dude. Side note: you mentioned fucking class act, and I'm like, wait, is that who I think it is? I just had to look it up real quick because I'm like, yes, it is because we
Oh,
talked about how much.
Hollywood.
Yes, we talked about how much we loved fucking Meshack Taylor, who plays Hollywood in Mannequin when we did our Curse of the Mannequin episode like last Halloween, and I was like,
Yep,
that's right, that's right. I fucking love that dude.
so good. Like, and he's really funny in that role. Like he only has a couple of lines throughout the entire movie, but he fucking nails it. Like
Oh
he's
God.
such a great character.
I haven't seen that movie in forever, but I love it. Dude, I love all the Kid and Play movies. Those dudes are like so fucking
Same.
underrated, man. House Party is my jam. Actually, especially House Party 2, the Pajama Jammy Jam is my jam.
Yep. I actually just talked about this a couple weekends ago. There was the horror garage sale,
Hmm.
and me and Tara were talking about like how everyone is just like, oh, you're the horror movie, people like they know us for horror movies, and we
Hmm.
were talking about that. She was like, saying how she really likes war movies and like the more like intense dramatic movies, like those
Yeah.
are more what she watches regularly than horror. And I'm like, yeah, I watch a ton of horror. I was like, but I love stupid 80s comedies. Like I was like, I watch a ton of 80s and 90s comedies in particular. I was like, I also am a sucker for rom-coms. And she was like, really? I'm like, yeah, I know. I like certain rom-coms. I like quite a few of them actually.
Hmm.
But I brought up House Party, and I was like, everyone's always surprised to find out that the first House Party is probably in my top 20 movies of all time.
Oh yeah,
Like
I believe it.
I fucking love that. That is a comfort movie. Like I watch House Party more than I watch Friday, and I fucking love Friday.
Yeah. Oh
Um,
yeah. Yeah. Well, and I've espoused my love for fucking Summer School, but that's the movie for me. Like I love again like stupid 80s comedies, but yeah, I love all the Kid and Play movies. But for me, Summer
mhm.
School is that like stupid 80s comedy. We did a whole episode sequel on it, right? Back in
Yep.
our like 25th episode. But yeah, I fucking love those movies. Yeah, I'm not like normally the horror guy. My favorite types of movies are kind of serious dramas, or but I also like stuff. I like period pieces. Maybe I'm just very stereotypical, but for me, I love Stand by Me, Lean on Me, The Shawshank Redemption, stuff like that. Those are the movies that I really go for. But I also love, I mentioned Aaron Brockovich in a recent episode. I fucking love
Mhm.
that movie. I love Where the Heart Is with Natalie Portman. I fucking
Mhm.
love The Mexican with Julia Roberts and Brad Pitt. Like, they're sort of rom-coms, but they're not like your typical, you're not your typical like formulaic rom-coms. Like those things, I fucking love those movies.
I know the one that I've taken flack for many times over the years is I actually do enjoy the Bridget Jones movies.
Dude, yeah, the first one especially. Those movies are great.
Yeah, the first one's fantastic. I love
Yeah.
that movie.
Yeah, and I've probably mentioned this on a podcast before. It's not a rom-com, it's maybe it's a little bit of a non sequitur, but one of my all-time favorite movies is like kind of random, and it's probably for me my most recent movie that is one of my like classic like go-to movies. For me it's a modern classic. One of those movies that I just put on all the time. Normally when I just pick a random movie to put on in the background, it's something from the 80s or 90s, like from when I was a kid, right? It's
Yeah.
one of these like 80s comedies. It's, like Animal House or Stripes or, one of these. Like I fucking love Groundhog Day. But
Mhm.
from 2011, there was this awesome movie. It's written by Diablo Cody called Young Adult with Charlize
Okay.
Theron and Patton Oswalt and Patrick Wilson, and it's about like a woman. who was a teenager in the 90s, and she was like the most popular kid in school, and now she's, fast forward to like 2011, and she's doing pretty well for herself. She's a professional writer, but she's a ghost writer, and she's become an alcoholic, and she decides the way to kind of fix her life is to go back to her sleepy small town in Minnesota and convince her high school boyfriend that they were like meant for each other. Even though he's married with a kid now, she's like on a mission to break up his marriage and get her high school boyfriend back so she can be like popular again. And like it does not go well, but it's not like a comedy of errors. It's really more of like watching somebody just spiral into mental illness, but also
Oh
funny,
wow.
but Pat,
I didn't heard of that. I kind of want to see that now. It
dude,
sounds
it's
good.
fucking great. Patton Oswalt is like the comedic relief, and I love it's my favorite Patton Oswalt role. I love this movie. People talk about Diablo Cody because of like, Juno and Jennifer's Body and stuff like that, but to me, Young Adult is her fucking masterpiece. I watch this movie like over and over and over again, so definitely check it out.
I'm gonna have to check that out. And also, just to let you know, if anyone does want to watch Class Act after being referenced a couple of times, it is currently available on Tubi. That's how I watched it recently.
Yeah, there you go.
Um,
Anyway, so back to the action. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, we
Back to
we
Turkey Hands.
back to turkey heads. So we got to show Tom like, yeah, after he like freaks out, sees the turkey face like in the binoculars, like you said, he panics. Just this is the scene we haven't seen yet that I want to see, which is where the turkeys are like out of control. They're like pecking at him and trying to fly, and their wings are flapping. There's feathers going everywhere, and Tom is just flailing around in his room. And we do all this like silly physical comedy where he's just knocking everything over. He like sweeps his like lamp off the bedside stand. He like breaks
Yep.
the fish bowl. He like knocks his dresser over. He's just destroying his room while the turkeys are just I can't do the gobble noise, but they're just gobbling and shrieking, and there's feathers everywhere, and somehow like his pillow explodes, and there's like goose feathers everywhere to make it even worse, right?
This is hold on before we do that, we should have like him scream, right, like freak out and scream. We should pan over to Mary Chastity's room, like maybe she has her window open or whatever, and she hears the scream, so we're gonna see like an over the shoulder view of Tom like running back and forth in his room. Like obviously he's far enough away that she can't really tell what he's doing, but like we just see him kind of like running back and forth past the window, like ah, ah, running back.
Yes,
And every time he
yes.
goes out of frame, we're gonna do that thing where like we see a bunch of shit come flying into frame. Because again, if this was filmed in the 90s or early 2000s, it would be all those like in-camera tricks because it's
Mm-hmm.
it's people puppeteering two Muppet turkeys, you know.
Yep.
So he'd like run up, just like you said, like he'd run out of frame, and then we'd just see like papers and shit come flying into frame. Then he'd run back across, and then we'd see like feathers from his pillow go flying, and then like we'd see a close-up shot of the lamp being broken by the turkey head, and then the fishbowl being broken, and then like do a close-up of
Mm-hmm.
like Tom screaming and like both turkeys like looking right in his face, like it was like ah.
Yes, yes.
So we'll have like he's freaking out, they're pecking him, he's slamming the hands against the dresser, just completely wrecking his room. And like maybe the fishbowl thing should be the last thing. Like he smashes the fishbowl and gets like a bunch of cold water dumped on him,
There you go.
and he's just like, oh god, oh god. And then he's like laying on the bed, looks all sweaty and disheveled. There's water all over him. His dad is gonna like bust in the room and see his entire room just fucked. Like shit's broken, things are everywhere. Tom's pants are going to be undone. He's going to be laying there sprawled out like a fucking starfish on his bed, panting. And
Yes.
his dad's just going to be like, good Lord, boy, can't you keep it in your pants for 5 minutes? Like,
Yes.
thinking his son is just violently masturbating.
Yes. Yes. Oh god, I love it. Oh, hang on. I want to insert something too. Like you backed up to like insert the Mary Chastity thing. I want to do the last bit of that. So yeah, Mary Chastity's like seeing him like go back and forth in the window, like like back and forth, and eventually like she hears a big crash, and she like she kind of like jumps for a second. Don't forget, like she was in the middle of her changing her shirt, right? She took her bra off, so she's looking out the window, and maybe she's sitting there holding her bra like to her chest, so she's covered up but still topless, right? And then we see the back and forth, and she hears this big crash, and then like it goes quiet just for a second, at least from her perspective, and then just have her shrug and be like, what a weird dude. And then she like throws the bra down and like stretches. So like we let the audience get the good boob shot that they were waiting for, but fuck Tom, he doesn't get to see it.
Yes. No titties for Tom.
Exactly. No, it is for Tom. Oh god. Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, all through the rest of it, he wrecks the room. His fucking dad comes in and he's like, "God damn it, boy! I gotta teach you some self control."
Back in my day, we tried to keep it private.
Exactly. And then he whispers, just like, "Your mom thinks you're on drugs. Do I really need to tell her what you're doing up here? It's probably better I tell her
Yes.
you're on coke." You know.
I tell her you're on coke. Love it.
Oh man.
Holy crap. So yeah, so we're gonna have to like obviously fast forward a little bit. So we'll cut from that whole incident to maybe like that, maybe the next day, because it was a
Hmm.
Friday. We
Yeah.
established,
Yeah.
it's Friday, it's co-ed, so it's the next day, Saturday, during the day, he's volunteering at the soup kitchen.
Yep.
So we could have like, he's there, he's doing what he's not really volunteering, he's being forced to be there. So
Right.
he's like cleaning some pots and pans or whatever, and like Mary and Felicity are like serving the soup out to the homeless and all that, and he's just kind of muttering to himself, pissed off. And then in comes the mystic, the old guy that he had seen in his dream.
There you go.
So he's gonna see this guy and be like, "What the fuck?" And maybe like the guy, like he walks in and he's looking at Tom the whole time. So it's like it's not even
Oh
like
yeah.
Tom
Yeah.
notices him. It's that feeling of like when someone's looking at you from across
Hmm.
the room and you kind of like get that like eyes on the back of your head type thing. So he's like going to look up and he's going to see the old mystic staring at him. The guy's going to come in and sit down amongst the other people. He's going to get a bowl of soup. He's going to be sitting there eating, but the whole time he's eating, he's just looking at Tom.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
Tom's going to be like, "What the fuck is up with this guy?" He's like, "No." And we'll get flashes of the dream sequence. So Tom is like putting the pieces together. Like, that's the fucking guy from my dream. Like,
Hmm.
what the
There you
hell?
go.
So we'll go through the day, like he's going through the motions, like trying to avoid Mary Chastity and Felicity as much as possible so he doesn't get a turkey hand.
Yeah.
So he's like trying to, he's looking down, like if anytime he talks to him, maybe he's like looking down at his feet like, okay, yeah, no, I'll handle that. And he's like not giving eye contact. He's
Hmm.
going out of his way to avoid anything that would turn him on. So
Nice.
like after like they close down for the night, he's throwing the trash out, and we see the old mystic and like a couple other homeless people like walking. And like Tom decides like, fuck it, I'm gonna find out where this guy lives, like where is he. So he's gonna follow them, and he follows them to the rebuilt like homeless shelter, homeless shanty town, I should say, in the park. And he's like, "Motherfucker, it's that guy from the night we
Hmm.
crashed." Like
Yeah. Yeah.
he's gonna like, because it's the guy that has the dogs. He's gonna be like, "You motherfucker!" So let's have him confront him. So
Yeah.
like he's gonna like come storming into the camp like he owns the joint, because again, rich bitch Tom.
Hmm.
He's gonna be like, "What the fuck did you do to me? I know you did something to me," and just have like the mystic never break, just like staring at him, like maybe not even smirking, just staring at him. And Tom's like, "What did you do? What did you do to my hands? You did something to me!" Like flipping out, and then like have maybe like the mystic just like looks to the side and then looks back at Tom, and when Tom looks over, he sees the dogs kind of like coming up growling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me add something to this. I like the idea of the dogs. Like, I think I have something gelling that I think we could do with that because let's not forget, Tom's hands turn into turkeys, and to the dog, like he might smell like that still. Like he might smell like a bird, which would,
Yep.
especially for dogs who like live in the woods, like they'd be into that. So let's back up. I love this idea of the conversation. So I hate to cut you off, but
Yeah, yeah, go for it.
back up to when he's at the soup kitchen. He's like in the back. Goes to take the trash out. Again, Tom's a dick, right? So he goes to take out the trash. How about he just like chucks the trash like over his shoulder at the dumpster? He doesn't bother to fucking open the dumpster. It like hits the lid and like slides off the side and like spills everywhere. It's like,
Yes.
and then we never saw him like, I don't know, smoking or anything. But yeah, maybe he like pulls out a cigarette because he's so stressed out that he's gonna smoke in the back instead of working. But then he hears growling and he looks over and there's those two dogs that he saw that night when he like crashed into the homeless encampment, and he sees the dogs and they're sniffing around at the trash, and maybe he maybe he like flicks his cigarette at the dogs like fucking mutts, and then they snap too. They look straight at him, and then that growl goes from being curious to hunting, like a real deep,
Oh.
deep growl. They start like salivating, and they're both like baring their teeth at him, and they start like creeping up on him like they're stalking prey, and he's just like, oh my god, like he freaks out, he panics. But then right at
Hmm.
that moment you hear this whistle, and the dogs, they're well trained, and they just, their heads snap to the side, they run after the whistle. Tom looks over, he sees the shaman walking away with one or two other guys. He whistled at the dogs. The whole time he never looks at the dogs, he's like looking straight at Tom, like you said before, just fucking dead eyeing him. The dogs run up to him, and they're all just passive as puppies, and then they walk off. And that's when Tom is, he like, motherfucker, like you said, he's like, he's gonna go confront them. So then fast forward to the point where you said, where he gets out to the camp, he goes in, he confronts him. The mystic looks to the side, he looks back at Tom, and then Tom looks over, and there's those fucking dogs. And again, they're in that like hunting, growling, like slobbering mode, and he's just like,
Yeah.
got to get the fuck out of Dodge, like, I'm out of here.
Yeah. Because otherwise he gonna get bit. So, oh, I like that. Okay. So yeah, so we could have like he clearly knows there has to be some kind of connection with this old man and what happened to him, because like he crashed into their their little their tents, their little town. He
Hmm.
destroyed it. He flipped out on them, and then soon after that he started coming down with a case of turkey hands, which is such a fucking ridiculous thing.
As one
But
does, as one does.
exactly, don't piss off shamans. It happens.
Yes.
If movies like Thinner taught me anything, don't
Yeah,
piss off the wrong people.
exactly. Well, I said, yeah, so he can just take off, and like, I don't know that it matters where he goes directly afterwards, because what I'm just thinking is like, okay, this has all been our big setup. Like, we've introduced the character and his world, and him being a dick, and then the curse, and how his like werewolf transformation or were turkey transformation, and so I think what we need to do here is we need to do like what every good boner comedy does, which is just have a bunch of hijinks for like the second act, uh,
Oh yeah.
just continue to put him in a bunch of situations where it's like everywhere he looks there's like titties, everywhere he looks there's like some scantily clad woman, there's like an advertisement in like the window of a store with someone wearing like like a dress blowing in the wind, and there's a little bit too much thigh for him to handle. It's like, because he's a fucking perv, right?
Exactly. Before we go into like into that, we should have like after he confronts the mystic and like the dogs are growling, let's have the dogs chase him. Like let's
Yeah,
have him
yeah,
like
good
running
one.
home, and the dogs are chasing him, and have him like terrified, like he's pissed scared that he's going to get attacked by these dogs. So he's running home screaming bloody murder. Like maybe he like cuts through an alleyway and like hops a fence, and like that's where he the dogs stop because they can't make it over the fence. So he's
Hmm.
like panting, like freaking out, like, oh my god, holy shit, and then maybe he could like turn around, he's like outside of a porn store because it's like a seedy alleyway.
Yeah.
Like he could do the thing where
Yeah.
it's like he turns around, it's like the XXX hot girls, all that, and it's got like the images in the window with just like the little strip over the nipples and the
Yeah.
little strip over the crotch,
Yeah.
and he's like, oh my god. Like then and we hear the dogs like "Rah, rah, rah, rah," like barking behind him, and he's just staring, and then we hear and he's like, no, and just like runs home.
Yeah, and the fucking dogs, he hears him get closer. As soon as that gobbling starts, like the dogs start barking, and he's just like, he just panics and screams and just run, like, again, like you mentioned the character in the Meanwhiles from Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, where when he runs away, his arms are up in the air like he's on a roller coaster, just
Yes.
ah,
They should be flailing above his head while they're flapping.
Yes,
The
exactly.
wings are flapping,
Oh
and he's just like
God.
running off into the night.
Yes,
But yeah,
yes.
we should do we should totally have like a montage scene of like Tom in school. He's not talking to his friends. He's not hanging out. Like people are talking to him. He's doing the like eyes front and center, looking down. Like he's not acting like himself. But we should also have like the little moments of like maybe he bumps into someone at a drinking fountain. They get a little splash of water on their chest. And he's like, oh god. And we see like the bumpy flesh. He's like, oh no no, and like runs away. Like have all these little moments where he's like trying to contain contain it, but even with him trying to contain it, he's such a horny little bastard that every single time something
Hmm.
crops up, he's having to like run away because otherwise he's going to reveal that he has turkey hands to
Oh,
everybody.
dude. Uh, it was Saturday when he was at the soup kitchen, right? Friday was the co-ed
Yeah.
gym, Saturday soup kitchen. So the next day, Sunday, right? He goes to this private
Mhm.
school. He lives in this like ritzy Massachusetts neighborhood. His family's Catholic, so he's sitting in church. He's in Catholic mass,
Oh.
right, on
Yep.
Sunday morning, and he's like, you know, I don't know if he's gonna say it out loud, but like, his mindset is like, there's nothing in church that's gonna make me horny. Like this is a safe spot. Like I'm in sanctuary. Maybe his mom even makes a comment of like, oh Tommy, you never want to come to church with us. I'm so glad you came with us this, this Sunday, the Sunday
Yes.
before Thanksgiving, or whatever. And then he's sitting in church and he's bored, and he's looking around the room and he sees like Jesus on the crucifix, and he looks around and then he sees a fucking statue of Mother Mary, but it's like young Mother Mary, like
No.
Virgin Mary, and he sees her and he's just bored and he looks at her again and he's bored. He's like, kind of kicking the pew in front of him. He looks back and then it's like the POV again is from his perspective, and it's like it zooms in on her face and it zooms in on her face and you see that little rouge on the cheek and like she's looking down, and then suddenly you just hear like the gobbling noise and he's like, ah, and he panics and runs out of the church.
Dude. Oh my god, hold on. We got to play this up. So, you've seen Zach and Miri make a porno, right?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Okay. The scene where Zach realizes what they should do, where Mary's just sitting there with the bottle of beer,
Uh-huh.
and she's like, this is the exact predicament people find themselves in before they start, having sex for money or doing porn. And he's like, wait, what? And she's like, what are you talking about? And he like looks at her, and then all of a sudden, like she's in like a hot, sultry outfit, licking the beer bottle, and it's like,
Yeah, yeah.
oh yeah, and it's like playing that music in the background. We should totally do the thing where he's looking at Mary, and like, we do the little close up, like, suddenly she has like it looks like she has makeup on, and then like, why does the neckline of her gown suddenly look down, and like like he's imagining, like he's
Yeah,
having
yeah.
a fantasy about
Nice.
Mary,
Yes.
and it's like, and it's like you can even have the like the background like boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom,
Oh,
like
yeah,
that
yeah,
like kind of
yeah.
music.
And like the camera pans out a little bit, and like Mary's always in that pose where she has her hands in the praying position
Yep.
with like a rosary wrapped around. So his point of view has been zooming in, and then suddenly it cuts out, and you hear like the porn music, and like the lighting gets all dim and neon, and suddenly Mary's standing there with like nothing but the rosary on. If you feel me,
And then like, so when he sees that, it's like, we hear the music, the boom, tick, boom, tick, and then it's like, like,
Yes.
oh god, no! And we should have like mid sermon, like Tom just scream, and then everybody like the whole church looks at him, and he like gets up and runs away,
Yeah.
and the
Oh,
parents are like, oh, it's an awkward age,
yeah.
just kind
Dude, the fucking priest who's like giving the sermon like in Latin or whatever, like in his like vestment robes and like the big gold Bible, he looks up into shock as the dude runs screaming out of the church, and and then maybe he just, but he's like, he has like a microphone on, like a lapel mic or something, but you hear him whisper like, "That boy's on drugs." Yeah,
yes, yes. And then, like, again, the whole congregation is looking at the parents, like they
yeah,
watch Tom run out. They
yeah,
all look back. The priest says that, and then like mom's like, "Well, it's the teenage years. They're very awkward,
yeah. Exactly. And the whole time, Dad has already gotten up and like put his jacket on, and he's like pulling her away, like,
Yeah, like we gotta go. We
come
gotta
on,
go.
Susan.
Yes,
Exactly.
exactly. Oh my god.
And then we do that whole montage like you were talking about. Like we can see him like,
Yeah.
like he's trying to hang out with his friends, and it's like he can't he just like looks around and he sees, like again like a like a model in a store window, and then here's the gobble, has to run away, and then the next day, he's in school and some girl like drops her pencil, oops, and like bends over and her sweater's like, drooping down for a moment, and he's just like, oh my god, and like you hear the gobble and he runs away,
Oh my god. That the drooping neckline. That's always danger, man.
Yes.
It's
Oh,
always
it
danger.
it's so subtle, but it's just like one of those things. Like I think every like straight dude knows what that feels like. You don't even see anything because she still has the
Yep.
bra on, but like yeah, when they bend over and that neckline falls out, it's like, God damn it, where's my trapper keeper?
Yeah. The worst, dude, is when I first started working at the hospital. Because I'm sure you've seen my office. Like, there's the window into the
Hmm.
lobby, but it's
Yep.
kind of low down. So, like, a lot of times when people want to speak into the window, they bend forward.
Hmm.
Some people will just kind of pivot at the waist and just like almost like a freaking seven, like they're shaped like a seven.
Hmm.
And the you've seen scrub tops,
Yep.
you've
Yep.
seen nurse
Yep.
scrub tops. Yeah, some of them don't care. It just balloons out, and it's like I can't look anywhere because I'm like, hey, yeah, let me get those keys for you. Because it's like, where do I put my eyes?
I
Like
know,
it's
right?
so awkward and embarrassing. And it was even worse when I first started because I was very young and awkward.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Oh, I feel you, man. My wife's a nurse.
but
I know all about scrubs, man.
right, right. So,
There's something about those scrubs. It's like, how women like think about like men in uniforms. There's a reason why like hello nurse is like a cliche, you
exactly.
know?
It's like each gender, or I shouldn't even say gender, but like, whatever you're attracted to, has that thing, where it's like I know plenty of ladies that like men in gray sweatpants. I know
Yeah.
plenty of ladies that like men in a uniform, and I know plenty of dudes that like a girl in scrubs. Like it's just a good look.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I'm
yeah,
one of
so
them.
we have exactly. I mean, shit, I work at a hospital. I get you. Um, but so we should have, like, we already established this is that was the Sunday before Thanksgiving. So Thanksgiving is coming up. He's gonna have to be volunteering at the soup kitchen for like their big Thanksgiving dinner. So we have this little montage, like a couple of days. Maybe we tick the calendar days off as like in
Oh
this
yeah, I like
montage,
that.
like
Yeah, that's good.
so we just kind of see like another day peel off the calendar and we see more of the montage. And like it's maybe the night before Thanksgiving. And after like a week of constant battling of his turkey hands, Tom's going to go to the Mystic, kind of like hat in hand, kind of like, all right, look, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Like I don't know what more I can do. Like I can't take this. How do I stop it? Like he's going to be freaking out.
Hmm.
And maybe that's where like the Mystic finally talks to him and tells him like basically like you've proven that you've learned your lesson, like you've stopped being such a pervert, stop being such a little prick. Like
Hmm.
maybe you could just be like, look kid, you're a fucking little asshole, you know what, I know
Yeah.
your type. Like we could have this very mystic like demeanor, and then the moment he talks he's gonna sound like Danny DeVito. Like, all right, listen here, you little fucker. Like just total not expecting that voice coming out of the guy, and it just kind of go off and be like, all right, you know what, I think you suffered enough. It's like, here's the deal.
Hmm.
You work tomorrow at the soup kitchen. You make sure all me and my friends are fed nice and good. After dinner, I'll take the curse off. And he's
Nice.
just like,
Okay.
oh, thank you so much, thank you. He's like, and then like we hear the dogs growling, and maybe he's like, you better fucking run, boy. They can smell you. And he's just like, ah, and, like runs away. You know.
Yes. Yes.
So Tom's sweating bullets. Like he's like, okay, I just got to keep it together. I got to get through the next day, and then I'm home free. I'm okay. I'll be fine. So we cut to like Thanksgiving morning, and we'll do like a quiet montage. Like he's like helping mom and dad make dinner and all that, and like then he's like, well, I'm off to the soup kitchen, mom. Like kisses her on the cheek, pats his dad on the back, and like his dad's kind of maybe. When he pats his dad could be like rubbing his shoulder, like I don't know where those hands have been, just kind of like looking all nervous. When Tom goes to the soup kitchen, and he's on his A game. Like he's being sweet to everybody. He's offering people like extra rolls. He's like, oh, can I get you anything else? Like he's like a fucking 4-star maitre d. Like he's
Yeah.
just all over it.
Oh, you know what? We should have James and Isaac come in, have them bust in and just be like, "Yo, hey Tom, like there's a, a fucking Thanksgiving like, kegger rager up at like the Chambers place. Like, let's go, man, ditch this, shithole or whatever." And then have Tom just be like, "Shut the fuck up, man. Like, I'm doing something here." And they're just like, "Yo, like we didn't think you cared about this stuff." And he's like, "You know what? You should too." And he throws aprons at him and he's like, "Fucking get to work, bitches." And they both just stare
Right.
at him like they're shocked. But he's their alpha male, so they're just like they just put the aprons on and start carrying trays, and it's like
Yeah.
he enlists them to come and help. And of course, Mary Chastity, she looks at him all impressed, and then suddenly he starts thinking like, "Oh, I finally did something to like impress her. Like she finally like really looked at me, in the way that he wanted her to look at him." And it's like
Yes. Oh, dude, that's perfect. Yeah, so like he's totally like he's finally kind of coming into his own where he thinks like he should be. He's
Yeah.
like he's got his friends like doing the dishes in the kitchen. He's helping out the homeless. He's impressing the girl, and he's like, and the curse is gonna be lifted. Like I finally got my shit together. Like everything's coming up Millhouse, like that kind of thing.
Yes, exactly.
So we should have like, and like the mystic could be watching him the whole time, and like he's
Hmm.
got a little smirk on his face, and maybe Tom keeps coming over. Can I get you anything, sir? Like, he's like nodding and like taking whatever Tom will give him, and then like it's dessert, right? So like a slice of pumpkin pie for everybody, a big old dollop of whipped cream or whatever, and like have everyone's eating, everyone's happy. It's a good night. They're gonna close soon. The old mystic takes a big old bite of pumpkin pie, horks it back, and starts to choke.
Oh
And
shit.
like everyone panics, and he's like coughing, and like people are trying to give him the Heimlich, and let's have Tom like run over it, and he's doing it all wrong. Like he's bashing the guy in the chest, like, go
Yeah.
on, cough it up, live, damn it, live.
Like fucking what's his name, Ed Harris from fucking The Abyss, when he's like
Yes,
bashing like Mary Elizabeth Mastro Antonio on the chest, like live, god damn it.
yes. And like it's too late. He's choked to death. He's dead. So like people are freaking out, and then we're gonna like we'll do that thing where like we hear all the screams, we hear all the muttering, and we're just gonna like it's gonna like zone out to just noise, like white noise, and Tom is just gonna be staring down at the dead mystic who was gonna lift the curse, and he's
Oh
just
my
like
god.
panting to himself. And then we have like we'll do a slow montage of like the paramedics and the
Hmm.
cops are there. They're zipping him up in the body bag. They're taking statements from people, and everything all clears out. And Tom will just be sitting there, like looking all like freaked out. And we could have Mary Chastity like come up and like put her arm around him and be like, "I know, Tom. It's a really upsetting time. Like I can't believe that happened. He was such a nice man. Like she thinks he's upset that the guy died. She has no idea he's upset because he's cursed with turkey hands." And then like maybe he's like, "Oh, she's giving me affection." So he's gonna try to like lean in and like maybe tries to go for a kiss, and she's like, "Whoa, whoa, Tom, no, like I didn't mean to give you the wrong idea. Like, yeah, I'm not interested, man." Like that
Yeah.
thing. And then we should, just to add insult to injury, we should have her be like, "Look, I don't mean to give you the wrong impression. Not a lot of people know, but I'm here for Felicity." And have him be
Oh
like, "What?" She's
yes.
like, ever be like, "Yeah, I mean, have you seen the fucking ass on that chick?" And
Yeah.
she just starts going in like raunchy as hell.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, exactly. Right. And Tom's like arguing with her. He could be like, but like, I was doing all this because I wanted to impress you and I thought that you would like it. Like I've been trying to, get you to be my girlfriend like, all month. Like I thought you were into me. And then she's just like, "Oh, no. Like I'm no, 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 no. Like absolutely not. Like there's no way I could be into you when Felicity is like right fucking there. I mean, have you seen those tomatoes?" Yeah.
She's all caked up.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I love this idea of Mary Chastity, especially with being named Mary Chastity. But like, it turns out that she was like just as pervy as Tom the whole time. She was just better at hiding it.
Yes. I mean, to be fair, women often are.
Right, exactly, right. And so she's saying all this like really like like X-rated stuff about Felicity, but then the camera zooms behind her and fucking Felicity who's standing right there, and they just have her be like, "Excuse me, you what?" And we have Mary Chastity turn around and be like, "Oh baby, don't try to pretend like you're not into me too." And she just like goes over and like throws her arm around her. She like throws her leg up on her. You know that thing where you kind of like put your knee up and your legs kind of like
Yes.
wrapped behind her. And then she goes to like plant one on Felicity. Like she's just like all on her. She goes to plant one on Felicity, and and Felicity is just like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa!" Like, hang on, like slow your roll. But then she could say, she's like, I am into girls, and I would have been into you because you're hot as shit. But like, this is a whole ass mess. Like you are coming on way too strong. Like, I don't need any more perverts in my life. And like, she takes off, right? And then
Yes.
Mary Chastity yells after her, like, "It's okay, baby. I know you'll be back. You can't get enough of this." And she like grabs her own tits and starts shaking them.
And oh no, dude, yeah. So she like she should like rip off her apron, and it's like she's got like just a couple buttons down, so there's a little bit of cleavage, but she does the like hands under the boobs, like jiggle, 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 like you can't get enough of this. And Tom's gonna see that, and we're gonna hear, and he's gonna be like, oh god, no, and like run out of the. He's
Yes.
like freaking out.
Oh god. Oh god. Okay. Okay. So then we have to like. Okay, let's just do like the hard cut. Like that's a great climax. Let's just do like a hard cut to like 1 year later. You know?
Yes, 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 yes. Okay, well, and that's the thing. Like Tom never got better. So
Yes.
something. So we should. Oh, dude, this is okay. This is fucked up. But let's see if. Follow me for a second.
Okay.
Let's see
Okay.
if we have to change anything. But we should cut 1 year later, just like you said, and we'll see like the little homeless shanty camp, you know, and we see people like milling about and all that, like, and maybe someone could even say like, hey man, it's Thanksgiving, you coming down to the shelter? And then we pan the camera around, and Tom is sitting in like a little like tarp tent, just kind of sitting there, but he's got garbage bags wrapped around his hands and like duct taped, but they're like, it looks like he's got pillows on his hands, and he's just sitting there, and the bags are moving a little bit, going like, and he's just like, no, man, I'm okay. And it's just like 1,000 yard stare, just like looking defeated. His hands are now permanently turkeys. He can't change it. Like the curse has gone all the way through. He's
Yeah.
just stuck.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we should see that he's got like feathers sticking all out of the bags, and maybe he's got feathers like sticking up out of his collar, like it's like spreading,
Yes,
and then
yes.
and that like he has that like goose flesh like going up the side of his neck and everything. Oh, see, I told you these fucking dogs would come back. I had like a little something in the back of my head, and this is fucking perfect because, right, he's sitting there with that fucking 1,000 yard stare and the gobble, 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 and then you just hear the dog growl, right? And he breaks the 1,000 yard stare. You see that panic come over his face like we saw before. Like he starts sweating, and then you just see like the little flap of his tent move to the side, and there's like the Rottweiler, and then like here comes the Doberman or whatever the other one was, the fucking bird dogs, and then they're growling and slobbering, and then they just do that like barking growl as they lunge at him and like cut to black.
Yes. Oh, dude, and this is perfect because all the homeless folk were heading down to the shelter, so there's not even anyone there to help him. So it's
Yes.
like the homeless folks are going to get their Thanksgiving dinner, and the dogs had theirs. They
Yeah.
had their Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh god, I love it. Oh my god, yeah. We can maybe do that like echoing scream again, but it like just echoes into like the black before the credits roll. Oh god, I love it. Fucking Tom. Fucking
Oh,
turkey hands, man. Jesus Christ.
I didn't expect it to go that dark, but like we fucking killed him at the
I
end.
know. Well, I didn't think it would go this fucking long either. I thought like this is just like a dumb little boner comedy. We're spending the whole time like doing some like dick and fart jokes, but like we like really stepped through this one like carefully, like scene per scene. Like this was really good.
This was a lot of fun. Well, and that's the thing. Like the closest to a boner comedy that we've ever done is kind of a stoner comedy with Jay and Silent Bob Meet Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, like I don't think we've ever played with this genre, but we both have, there's movies in this genre that we both have enjoyed. We talked about it at the start, but I mean, there's tons of movies. Like I definitely like the first American Pie movie. I loved the
Yeah.
Porky's movies as a kid.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Hmm.
like just one of the guys. Like I still to this day say sorry, Spike. Just
Yeah.
like, you know. I also say the line of all balls itch is a fact.
No, 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 no. Let me show you how it's done. First, there's the casual shift, but like sometimes you got to get in deeper. Let some air in, move things around.
Oh, I gotta watch that movie again. It's been too long. I love that
It's
movie.
so good. These movies
Oh,
they're hard to defend, right? Because they're just like
right.
they're so wrong in so many ways. But yeah, like we were saying before, there's something about Mary is fucking hilarious, and
Oh
and
yeah.
the Austin Powers movies, especially the first one, are like fucking
Hmm.
great. Like uh, I don't
And that's
think
the
boner
thing.
comedies get enough respect.
They don't. They're vulgar, they're gross, but they're fucking funny. And it's like I think sometimes these are the types of movies where people need to just let their hair down and laugh a little bit. Just fucking laugh. Like we get it. It's fucked up, it's wrong, it's raunchy, but everyone can relate a little bit,
Yeah,
to certain aspects of a boner comedy, whether you want to admit it or not. Everybody can relate.
yeah.
It's like was it Salt and Pepper say, everyone gets horny just like you.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Like, well, you see, Mary Chastity was a perfect example of that because she was like, perfect little like, prom princess, like girl next door. But she was doing the same shit that Tom was doing, volunteering at the soup kitchen just so she could like, get up close to the girl she was perving on, and just like Tom was totally a breast man, Mary Chastity is like an ass girl, right? She was all
Of
into
course.
Felicity's like dump truck. Oh, dude. Oh my god. Oh my god. Okay. So after we like run the credits for like a minute or two, we gotta do that thing where like the credits move to the side and then there's like a scene, like an extra scene or even like a deleted scene that shows up in the middle of it. But
Uh,
we got to do like a sizzle reel of like every alternate take because the script writers just gave Mary Chastity, the actress, they gave her like a bunch of different like pervy things to say about Felicity, and like they used the one, like the best one in the theatrical cut, but then we're gonna see all the
yeah.
other ones. So it's that same sequence, but you just hear Chastity, Mary Chastity, say something like, have you seen the fucking cakes on that shelf? I just want to stick my face in the middle and motorboat them. But then you hear like you see that like what do they call that thing, the clapboard, like take two, and then
Yep.
you say right, and then she says something like, oh, oh baby, you gotta install a backup alarm on that thing so I can hear you coming beep beep beep.
Oh my god. Like, and of course it would get raunchier and raunchier.
Yeah.
We could even kind of do the Jay and Silent Bob thing of like, hey, have you ever had your asshole licked by a fat man in overcoat? You have like, hey, you
Yes.
ever have your asshole licked by a Catholic schoolgirl? Like just something
Yeah.
fucked up.
Yeah. Oh, okay, dude, this is disgusting. It's disgusting. But there was a joke that I wrote into a one-page comic in our old comic book Bort that we put out years ago.
Yes,
And
I know where you're going.
we've mentioned it on the podcast once before, and it was a true story of an actual
Hmm.
conversation that I had with a shop owner who was like looking at the wrestler model China, like a muscular woman in like a Playboy or a Penthouse, a nudie mag,
Hmm.
and I told him basically like, whoa, like I'm not really into that, kind of thing, and he fucking says, true story. This quote is burned in my brain. He takes a deep drag on his cigarette and just goes, "I'd eat a mile of her shit just to see where it came from."
Yep.
And Mary Chastity's got
Oh,
to say that because she's such a fucking ass girl.
yes. And this same shopkeep, again, I'm not naming names, but I also purchased comics many a time there, and he tried to sell me the comic book Preacher because I was looking at it like, oh, this looks interesting, as before I read it, and he's like, oh my god, it's got everything, it's got everything, it's got a vampire, it's got a hit woman, it's got chicken fucking, it's got incest, and I'm like, why was chicken fucking and incest two of the selling points?
Right?
Like, why
Exactly.
why did he feel the need to say those two parts? Oh my god, dude. I mean, obviously we can't do a sequel to Turkey Hands because we killed Tom, but
Yeah,
who knows? Maybe there's another boner comedy in the future.
maybe. We killed Tom and we killed the Mystic. So I don't know, like, is there like a Mary Chastity spinoff we can do? I don't know.
Mary Chastity and her ass obsession. Oh my god.
Oh, dude. Oh, we fucking did it, man. So we took a stupid comment about a stupid comment on a podcast that you put out a year ago where where somebody just randomly mentioned turkey hands and like you died laughing, and then we were like, you know what? There's a whole episode there next Thanksgiving. Let's do it. And we put it on the schedule. We fucking stuck to it, and here it is.
I'm so glad that we didn't go the horror direction, because like I remember when we first started talking about this in October, because we're like, well, what do we got to do for November, like what's on the schedule, and we were
Hmm.
like talking about what we could get done, and you brought up Turkey Hands, and it was like, oh yeah, no, it was like, supposed to be a slasher, blah blah blah, and we were just talking about, and then both of us were kind of like, I'm not really feeling it as a slasher. I feel like this was the right direction
Oh
because
yeah,
this was too much fucking fun.
dude,
Like,
this was great.
dude, I will say this to the listeners: if you enjoyed this ridiculous romp as much as we did, let us know, because like I'm sure we could come up with some more, ridiculous comedies. Maybe not full on boner comedies, maybe, I don't know. But let us know. Like, we don't get enough feedback on uh some of these original ideas, So let us know what you think.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, we're always saying every season that like, oh, we got to do more episodes that aren't horror. Like we always go horror. And granted, the horror episodes get good feedback. The horror episodes are really fun and people seem to like them. People even voted for
Mm-hmm.
one when we did our morgue file like dead episode vote at the end of last season. So, I know people like horror, but just to keep it interesting, like it's not a horror podcast and we're not the Boogeyman's Closet. So,
Mm-hmm.
we're always trying to find ways to not do horror episodes sometimes, and we've had a couple this season, like the Harry and the Hendersons to Hardcore Harry. I mean, yeah, there was like some action and violence in it, but it wasn't a horror movie, but like
Yeah.
I'm literally like thinking like, wait, what the hell else did we do that wasn't horror? Like, does the combat have to be so mortal? Again, violent, bloody, not technically horror.
Right.
And it's like, okay, so we end up doing a lot of horror, which I'm fine with, but it's always good when we can find other things to do. Like, let's do some
Right.
comedies. Like, I don't know, dude, like maybe a rom-com is the goal for next season. Like, do you think we could like, climb that mountain and make that one work? Like, I don't know.
I feel like if we were gonna try it, I feel like a Christmas rom-com would be doable, because we both have a deep love for Christmas movies. There's a lot of
Hmm.
Christmas movies that we both talk about watching every year, and I feel like between our mutual enjoyment of rom-coms and Christmas films, it might be doable. I'm not gonna promise anything, but I feel like it might be doable.
Yeah,
Now, all that saying about getting kind of away from horror, we're going to be coming back to horror for another episode coming up. So you're
we
not, dear listeners.
exactly. Thanks everyone for sticking around all through the wild ride of Turkey Hands, and and goddamn. But yeah, I really appreciate everyone once again tuning in to the Raised by Rentals program. As always, you can find us online, raisedbyrentals.com, at Raised by Rentals on the socials, and of course, check out radpantheon.com for the Rad Pantheon, a super team of podcasters, artists, musicians, all sorts of creative people supporting each other and helping to spread the gospel of rad stuff. So if you like the show, definitely check out the other projects at radpantheon.com. Go show them some love. What about you, Mike? What do you got going on?
Things unfortunately have been a little on hold this month, just due to scheduling issues yet again. But we should have at least one Thanksgiving Boogeyman's Closet episode coming up, hopefully at least by Thanksgiving. So we'll have our Thanksgiving episode up for the Boogeyman's Closet, and then we should have a episode of Count Creepyhead, which you should be on as well. So looking forward to doing that.
Yeah, tune in to Count Creepyhead's Saturday Morning Monster Mash all the time. Just subscribe to it and just listen. You don't have to like toys. You don't have to be into Muppets. You just listen to it anyway, because especially if you like this episode, you'll like Count Creepy and the humor that you'll find over there. But check out all the podcasts in the Red Pantheon. And yeah, once again, thanks for tuning in. If you had fun with us, visit us on those socials, drop us a line, leave a comment, leave a podcast rating. Let us know what you think we should improve next time. And with that, I'm Josh.
I'm Mike.
And we have to return some videotapes. Raised by Rentals is a member of the Rad Pantheon Network. Visit radpantheon.com to support rad stuff. The theme music is Forbidden Fruit by Velvet Bethany. You can purchase music and learn more at velvetbethany.com.
How do we kill her? We have no money. Oh, we'll pretend to break her neck.
Yep.
And they
And
clearly have like some puppet, like some gloves with feathers glued to them that they use several points during the movie, where somebody off camera just like reaches in with turkey hands and snaps her neck.
Turkey hands. If I named these anything other than the name of the movie, the episode would totally be called Turkey Hands.
You gotta name it. This
I
episode
want-
is harder to listen to than John Benet Ramsey.
Oh, I genuinely now want there to be a separate like horror movie killer called Turkey Hands.
Hey, Strasbourg, raised by rentals next Thanksgiving.
Oh God, please.
Turkey hands.